Dago's got that stare red light on the screen, pouring up truth every damn day. Names, faces, dates, he don't look away. Pin maps, cold files on the wall. String runs tight from the big shots, his halls. You feel that chill when he says that name. Someone's shadow, someone's shame. True Crime Cafe, he's serving the proof. Hot cup of pain, cold steel of the truth. Seeking justice, seeking reality. Voice for the voiceless, he speaks for the street. True Crime Cafe, every single day. Pulling on the threads till they all give way. Corruption in the veins, he's calling it out. No way, no peace till justice is found. Backroom deals under neon signs. He reads one line, then follows the lies. Crack tape, low sound, he can hear that plea. Somebody out there, come remember me. He don't blink when the story gets dark. He just digs deeper, strikes that spark. You hear that rage rotting under his breath. Every question a dare, every pause a threat. True Crime Cafe, he's serving the proof. Hot cup of pain, cold steel of the truth. Yeah, seeking justice, seeking reality. Voice for the voiceless, he speaks for the street. True Crime Cafe, every single day. Pulling on the threads till they all give way. Corruption in the veins, he's calling it out. No way, no peace till justice is found. No way, no justice, no use in the lies. He tears down the curtain, looks dead in their eyes. Whoa, you feel that verdict rising inside your chest, till the guilty confess, till the broken can rise. True Crime Cafe, he's serving the proof. Hot cup of pain, cold steel of the truth. Seeking justice, seeking reality. Voice for the voiceless, he speaks for the street. True Crime Cafe, every single day. Pulling on the threads till they all give way. Corruption in essence, he's burning it down. No way, no peace till justice is found.
Blood on the briefcase, ink on the plea deal, coffee ring stains on a life that you can't heal. Man, this a charge, it's priced up by the ounce. Judge cracks a joke while they auction every ounce. Cameras in the corner, catch a cuff, then it cuts. Paper shred, justice turn a file into dust. Who signs the warrant when the fox runs a pen? Same last name on the golf bag and the bench lies in the wind. Blowing through this True Crime Cafe. Hey, everyone's guilty, far as I can see from this ashtray. Can't trust a halo, every halo got a stain within. I'm a voice for the voiceless, screaming over all these lies in the wind. Prosecutor preaching like a saint on the stand, but the bonus hit different when your head's on the sand. Public defender with a folder and a prayer. Rust on the handcuffs, rust on the chair. Corruption on the table like sugar in a jar. Sweet when you taste it, then it eats out your heart. Who do you run to when the badge got a brand? this true crime cafe. Oh yeah, crime gets ignored if the suit got the right last name. Can't trust a halo, every halo gotta stay within. I'm a voice for the voiceless, screaming over all these lies in the wind. Who can you trust when the system laughs in your face? When the judge is a punchline in the dark staircase, insanity replay, same scene, different day. If justice won't answer, then we carve our own way. Hey. 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 Lies in the wind, blowing through this true crime cafe. I'm seeking the truth while they're sweeping all the proof away. Can't trust a halo, every halo gotta stay within. I'm a voice for the voiceless till the last breath chokes. All these lies in the wind.
All right, guys, welcome back to the cafe. I hope you're all having an amazing day today. It is that time again. We are open for business. Come on in, grab a seat, get off your feet, grab a cup, fill it up. Let's jump into this today, guys. I can't get this out of my head. It's just something I could talk about this forever. Did the victims know their attackers, and who was at the house that night? Who was there? We're going to talk about that. Look at the points that we know. You know, there were some sounds in the 1112 videos, so on and so forth. So we're going to break all that down as much as we can today, so on and so forth. Of course, I've had requests for this as well, to talk about this as well. So, hey, it is what it is. So come on in, grab a seat, please, and thank you. Hit that like button if you would, please, again, and thank you. And share this out. Let everybody know what's going on in here today. Come on down, guys, and let's get this thing moving. Here we go. Enough blabbering from me.
Flicker like broken halos. Whispers gather in the smoke-filled air. Tables carved with secrets and shadows. Every story's a wound laid bare. The kettle's boiling with restless rage. Justice written on an unseen page. I sip the silence, bitter taste, waiting for the ghosts to show their face. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betray. Cracked reflections are liars. Ashes fall where the guilty once stood. The jukebox hums like a funeral choir. Echoes pounding through the neighborhood. Every scar is a candlelit vow. We hunt the how, we demand the now. No more silence, no more disguise. We'll paint the night with sharpened cry. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up battlefield hymn, a requiem dripping from the bottle's rim. The guilty write stories in invisible ink, but we'll drag it all up from the edge of the break. At the True Crime Cafe, the reckoning burns like a black bouquet. Every shadow will pay in the True Crime Cafe.
All right, all you beautiful people, come on in and have a seat. Good to see you guys again today. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless. Great to be back with you guys as always. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope it's good for you because it's great to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, did the victims in the Idaho 4 murders know their attackers? And who was in that house that night? The chief himself even stated there was other people there that night. Is that what he meant? Did they know that? I think so. We're going to talk about it. I will pin a link here shortly as we get everybody in here moving around to have this discussion. Anybody that wants to join me to have the discussion, you guys know my door is always open, and I love having guests. And I promise I showered today. I smell good. No worries. You don't have to worry about joining me. So come on in. Just like Ms. Teresa did and Kara Garrison did. It looks like one made nut. Eddie's in the house. Good to see you, brother. We've missed you. Altruistic Murders here. Juror 13. Great to see you. Wellington Oda, welcome back. Ms. Rowe is in the house as well. Great to see you, Miss Rose. Thank you for joining us today, dear. Ms. Wendy, great to see you. Tarabusha, welcome back. Angie B, always happy to see you. Fly on the wall. I'd love to be one of them sometimes. Truly and honestly. Come on in, come on in. Again, Michelle F., great to see you. You can't smell me. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Dog kisses, welcome back. Miss Grace Kirk, same to you. Pretty much Finland is pretty much in the house. Great to see you today. JJPP87, great to see you. Miss Jen 7, always in the house. Good to see you, Jen. Thank you so much. Salute to Kitty Meow Meow. Great to see ya. Thank you for joining us today. Blue Devil, great to see ya. Come on in, grab a seat. Microdot, welcome back to you. Great to see you. G Bean, welcome back. Great to see you today. Trina's Domestic Vibes, welcome. Great to see you. You guys' names are killer. I love them. The Tomboy Charm flying in. Great to see you, Tomboy. Thank you for joining us today. I received your package today, dear. Thank you so very much, and God bless. Nothing but love for you. You know that. Definitely going to help me out. Kieran Folko is great to see you. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Who else do we have? Miss Jessie Lynn. There she is. Good to see you, Jessie. Thank you for joining us. Moving forward. Who else do we have? Who else? Sluther75 sliding in here. Good to see you, Sluther. Thank you for being here. Jerry and Kara for life. Welcome back. Good to see you. Thank you to... My phone is not on, Tomboy. That's why I can't respond to your text. Lisa West, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. I think I got everybody. I didn't really want to say that out loud, but it's my cell phone is turned off, so therefore there's no service. I can't respond to texts because I don't get them. Sheesh, as you said. Fox Rooter, Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate ya. Lisa West, again, good to see you because I think I just said that. Everybody that's here, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much. Good day to you, Fox. Come on in, guys. Grab a seat. Looks like there's 79 people here in the house so far. And it looks like we've only got 46 likes. Come on, guys, please. Don't make me beg you, please. Don't make me beg you. Italian girl, good to see you. Madame Low, welcome back. What's happening? And thank you to all the meatballs that have jumped in the sauce with us today to spill this sauce. Great to have you here. Come on in, everybody. Janice Steiner, great to see you guys. Make sure, again, to hit the like button, share it out. And don't forget, folks, if you could remember, please, after the show, throw in a comment if you can. I do try to read them all. I definitely try. I definitely try to respond to them too if I can. So come on in, guys. Welcome, Carmen. Good to see you. Jensen, don't make me be the alpha. What a joke. Astastic, great to see you. I'm sure those of you did see, we watched it at the end of our show yesterday, the interview with Stephen Christie at CrimeCon. And I don't even know if I have anything to say. Vanilla, good to see you. Friendly Snake, good to see you. Brian Todd, welcome back, brother. Great to see you. Jared 13, you as well. Let's see here. I sure did catch the Alfred plea comment. I kind of wonder that, Teresa. I do. I think it's, did I say Vane Illa? Welcome. I was asked to leave the G family for videotaping. I did not know it was not allowed. The Crime Talk guys clearly saw I was recording. Wow, really? Wow, that's crazy. And very likely they could have been. Mama's boy, great to see you today. Maybe Molly was there to pick something up as well as drop something off, people, drugs, etc. But it would be the first time, wouldn't be the first time Molly has had a naked man in her car. That was good. That was good, Mama's boy. I wouldn't doubt it either. Kathleen Bell, welcome to you. Amy Oleski, welcome back as well. That was good. That was definitely a good one. Like it, like it, like it. I can agree with you, Mama's boy. It's probably a good point, Brian. I don't think I said that when they first said that it was going to be in Vegas. I was like, that's kind of a wild mixture. Escorted out of the meet and greet too. Really? Wow. That is wild, Snake. Very wild. Huh. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised. Yeah, there's some strange behavior going on. meet and greet for my comment at Bryan Enton's presentation. Asked how he felt about no IgG for blood, DNA, and fingernails. Oh, they probably walked you out immediately for that one, buddy. Ms. Becca, good to see you. He has 40,000 on commissary. Is it? Yes, that is what they said. Bryan Kohberger has $40,000 on his books. Interesting. Circus music, welcome. Just a suggestion. Have a day of $2 super chats. Give your opinion on questions people have to help support your work. Just a suggestion. That would be awesome. I mean, of course, I can't. I don't want to force people. We don't expect those, but that's a good point, Circus. Thank you. If anybody's interested, of course we can do that. We just did a Q&A the other day. Um, but that is a good suggestion. I appreciate that. Yeah, this stuff is definitely not cheap to run this. So it does help. Definitely support it. Definitely supports it. Can't be speaking the truth in a criminal case. No, no, that would be too way off. That's a good question. How do they know what Bryan has on his prison commissary account? They shouldn't know that, and if they do, somebody else should be in trouble. Happy birthday, Robert. Scott Reich and I bashed YouTube dig, and I sent you the link timestamp. Thank you, friendly. Appreciate that. Yeah, yes, Robert, you'll get a song. No worries. I'm working on it right now. One minute, guys. Let's see. Kathleen Bell. Terabusha dropping $2 already towards our goal. Thank you for that, dear. Appreciate that very much. More than you know. Well, let me see here. Lady Speedwell, welcome to you. Good to see you today. Looks like we got 127 peeps in the house, guys. Please make sure you're hitting that like button, please, and thank y'all. All right. All right, 1 minute. And of course, as I do for everybody, everybody gets a cake as well. There you go, sir. I hope you have a great day today. Happy birthday, Mr. Robert. True Crime Unleashed. I hope you have a great day and an awesome year leading up to next year. And enjoy your day and your year, my friend. Happy birthday, sir. Please make sure you guys wish Robert a happy birthday. Let me see. I also just saw there they are. Miss Sluther dropping 5 memberships as well. Thank you, Sluther, for that. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. It looks like Teresa 8793, Wisconsin Carey, one elusive rainbow, 4 frogs, fat asses. Jesus. 4 frogs, fat asses, 417. And Breezy B all received new memberships, 5 new meatballs, jumping in the sauce, and thank you, Sluther. You're an angel, as always. And welcome to the sauce, all you awesome new meatballs. Appreciate that so very much. Jilly Bean, good to see you, dear. Again, happy birthday, sir. You're welcome. Couple more years, I'll be there. Yes, over $300,000 in fines and restitution he's ordered to pay the victims' families. They want to take every dime. That's big money there too, for sure. It was. That's why I didn't go. It was too expensive. Lee wanted me to had invited me to go with a couple of us. We had all been there together, and we talked about it. My wife and I about taking her vacation at a certain time and going. But when we looked in the pricing and everything, there's no way in hell. No way. No way. If it was like in Cleveland or Akron where I could have came home, instead of having to stay and so on and so forth, I probably would have done it. But we just can't afford it, guys. There's no way in hell. I don't know how anybody can, especially in Vegas. That's so expensive. It was crazy. The tickets to get like the full Monty with everything was like $1,200 a piece or something for everything, all the extras. And I'm like, no way. No, 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 no. We don't, YouTube does not pay us like that. I promise you. Wendy Wells, welcome. And thank you for that. Appreciate that, dear. Living Dead Girl, good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Author, huge sponsor, CrimeCon. They heard my question about not pursuing. Good for them. Good to hear, bro. Good to hear, ma'am. Sorry, I don't know whether you're male or female. Sorry about that. Either way, Rosie is in the house. Good to see you, Rosie Rizzo. Thank you for being here. Let me check my email here real fast. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure a couple things out here. Bear with me. My apologies. Cat K, good to see you, dear. Meanie's in the house. Miss Paula, the positive one. Both of you, welcome. Great to have you both here. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to put together an email. Megan Friendly had stated something, so I'm just checking to make sure I didn't receive anything yet. Yeah, I think we're good. Hold on here. Kind of excited to have this conversation today. I hope somebody or a couple people might join me. Probably help if I put the link in. There's the link there. It is now pinned. I definitely want to break this down. Annie sent it last night. Oh, okay. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that so very much. I don't understand why Annie can't. It's weird. Ritter, welcome to you. Good to see you. Oh, okay. You are Annie. Sorry, Annie. I don't know what's going on with it. It doesn't make sense to me. We've looked into it. Nothing. There's nothing there from our side of things. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense. Claire, welcome to you, dear. Good to see you today. There he is, my brother and yours. Eddie's in the house. What is up, then, brother? How you doing?
It's good to see you, everybody. Good to see you today, Dago.
You as well. Always, always. It's always a breath of fresh air when you join me.
Hopefully, someone else will join us. As you all know, I'm more of a who did not do this than
Yes.
a who did this type of
Well,
thinker.
that'll work in this too. I think, Eddie. We can point that direction as well. But yeah, I get it.
That doesn't mean that I don't put thought into who did it and what the possibilities are.
Sure. Absolutely. It's just something I cannot get out of my head with the new stuff that we've heard, the statement analysis stuff, so on and so forth. Just, and I have other thoughts too. Wait, what? Jules said Kaylee's Range Rover was wrecked. When did I have no idea? I never heard that. Wow. Lexi, good to see you. I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I can't get past it. It's just one of those things that will eat away. I know you have things that bother you like that, Eddie. We've talked about it before. That just chews and chews and chews on your mind, and you have to talk about it. So, and I know I've talked about it before, but that's just. And I had a few people that kind of approached me with it too. So I just have to talk about it. That's all I can say. Welcome, Cheese. It's good to see you. You as well, Rosie. Always happy to have you here.
Dago, the fact that we're having this conversation is kind of it displays that we've come such a long way. Can you imagine having this conversation?
Oh, yes.
It was like pulling teeth to try to establish that Bryan Kohberger did not do this crime.
That's part of the conversation we can have today, to be honest with you, because that's huge to me. Because I mean, I was kind of with you on some aspects of not believing that it was Bryan. I believed that it was Bryan for literally about 15 minutes. Okay. And I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but they arrested him. They flew him home, his court appearance in Pennsylvania. I didn't have any reason to not believe it was him then. Okay. When they got him home and he had his first court appearance, we received the PCA. And at that point, basically, is when I made my first, viewing of the PCA and read it, is when I stepped back and said, I don't know that I'm comfortable with this. And then I think from every document we received going forward there, Eddie, is when it slowly but surely, it took me a while to get completed with it, completely over the fence with it. But in the beginning, it literally was only just a short while that I thought Bryan was guilty, because again, I had no reason to not think he was guilty. I didn't have a reason to think that anything was weird with this, other than the 8-hour delay and the fact that 4 people were murdered, which is pretty serious and it's a big deal. They arrested him in Pennsylvania, which again I thought was kind of strange because it was so far away from where the crime happened. But okay. And I waited, and we went through the PCA, and I'm like, "This is off big time," and then some other things popped, and at that point then, I was immediately on the fence, and I said, "Okay, fine. You show us what he did, how he did it, where he did it, why he did it, and then we'll talk about it." They never did that, Eddie. Never. Never. They didn't
It's
even
funny you should
attempt.
mention that, because for the longest time, what irked me is when people kind of in a general way said, "I'll believe he did this when they show me more evidence."
Right. Right.
And Pavarotti, and I've always said that that's like nails on the chalkboard to me, because really what that
Yeah.
is it's kind of like um, the mind is made up, but you just want to come across as being open-minded about it. Um, and Pavarotti just recently put out some one of his recent videos. He touched on that, and it was, to me it was like revisiting those times when I was kind of saying the same thing back then, and
Yeah.
um, and feeling those same thoughts, because it shows, someone making a statement like that really shows that they're probably not open-minded about it. And you look at some of these channels that used to be, you know,
Oh, big
like you
time.
can tell what side they're on, the guilty side, no matter what.
Sure. Yeah.
One sticks out in my mind, and it's these like subtle passive aggressive like attacks that you can't come out and call it, because they're gonna have like tactical denial about it, but
Yes.
it's like calling them pet names. Like I think one guy called him Coco or something like this,
Yeah.
and it was just like so off-putting. But really, what it's saying is no matter what, he's always going to be guilty on this channel, and that is like a rally point for the subscribers and viewers. It's like you want a place to come to that's going to be, Bryan Kohberger did this 100%, no matter what. This is the channel.
Yeah. Right.
And now it's just silence. Now that the facts show
Right.
otherwise, there's no coverage there, and they just don't talk about it, and they won't
And
unless they lurk and then
yes,
blow up
and
other people's chats. But
do
yeah,
you remember me saying too, I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with certain channels, and we all know who they are, when it comes forward that there's so much more evidence proving that Brian was innocent, and, there was different debates as to what was gonna be said, if anything, and I think you even said then, like, "We won't hear from him." Those were your words, "We won't hear from him." I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
yeah,
They'll just I said, "They'll probably disappear," but you were like, "No, I don't think so." But we won't hear from them. They'll just be quiet. It'll be radio silence, and that's exactly what we've gotten. It's kind of interesting. Um, the funny thing with what you said too is there were channels in the beginning. I remember doing shows with a couple specific channels where we could have like a healthy debate on our reasons why we wanted to see certain things and why we felt certain ways. And I, Drunk Turkey was one of the main ones that I was on their show. They were on my show. We talked, and hold on a minute. Let me make sure
my,
your mic is good.
how does it sound? Is my mic cutting out?
It sounds okay to me. I don't know to them though. How about now, guys? Go ahead and say something, Eddie. Can you hear me, Eddie? You might have to jump down. I don't think he can hear me. Yeah, he had to go out and come back in. So yeah, back in the day when this first happened, Drunk Turkey and I would switch panels with each other, go back and forth, and he always thought Brian was guilty, no matter what, which I respected that, and I said, um, "Can you hear me now? You're muted. There you
Yeah,
go.
I've heard you the entire time. There's some in chat saying they can hear me.
I could
Um,
hear you up until that last moment when you said, 'How's this?' and then you were completely cut out at that point.
wow. Okay.
It's weird. I don't know. But
We'll
yeah,
have to
Drunk
keep an eye
Turkey.
on that.
I will definitely on my side of things. I turned your volume up on my side, and then everything else, there's nothing else I could do. Well, and that's what bingo right there. That right there, Vane Illa. Drunk Turkey said if there was no DNA in his car, they would rethink things. Well, here's what happened. I don't know if you guys remember this. I got a message from Daniel the day that they had the court hearing. We watched it. He watched it. We all had it on our different channels. I got a message from him that said, I have to say, you were right about one thing. He goes, I may have to give you some props. 2 days later, it was completely nothing. It was just, he erased that thought, that feeling, and went right back to where he was with it. And I'm like, okay, and I respect everybody else's own feelings on this. The only people I don't respect are the people that I've never, if you've ever watched my channel, you're here now, but in the past, way back then, 4 years ago, okay, I've never attacked anybody because they thought Bryan was guilty. Never. I won't. Because that's their right to have their own feelings on that, okay? Here's the thing. Now, have I made comments about, I don't understand how you can see this. I don't understand why you think this. This is crazy. That's crazy. Sure, I've made those comments because I that's what I believe. Never have I ever attacked a channel or their creator because they believe that Bryan's guilty. But do you know how many times I've been attacked for it? I went a solid year being shredded for things that had nothing to do with the case because of my belief, which, whatever, that's fine. It's just, I don't understand how people get so angry when this doesn't truly affect any of us, other than the fact that the outcome of what has happened can affect us, yes. But the situation itself has nothing to do with us, other than the fact that we want real justice for these people. And we want to know what the truth is, okay? And that should be something that everybody wants. And I don't see it. Even yesterday, at the end of my show yesterday, Eddie wasn't here for that one, but I played an interview that was done at CrimeCon with Stephen Christie Gonsalves. They made two solid statements, okay? And said, we would never want anybody innocent to go to prison for this. All we want is the truth. And I had to sit back and go, what? Because this is what we've all been pushing for. And we have been shredded by them. And we have been told by them that we're insane, that we're conspiracy theorists, that we're crazy and we're trash, and we're all sorts of things, when we're, in reality, standing in their corner, whether they want us to be or not, trying to find justice for the fact that they lost their child. It blows my mind. It's hypocritical and it's a joke, okay? Or hypocrisy. There you go. So, that's what this has been, guys. It's been for years from the beginning. And I think, I'm trying to remember, Eddie, you might better than me because you have a great memory. But when do you remember this dividing? The whole Bryan and the Kohbergers and the Guilters. Do you remember when that may have happened?
Yeah, it was so early on.
It was.
There's no exact date, but it's certainly
soon.
Within 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, I got to give you that. I think that's about right. So within 3 to 4 months, the case of the century, okay, the whole world was divided on this. Literally, like split right in half. Bryan did it, Bryan didn't do it. And the people that are what they call pro-burgers, I call us pro-truthers, because that's what we are. Because once again, I told you guys, and I said this 4 years ago, I'm saying this now, and I'm just rounding it off at 4 years because we're almost there. What it was to me, it has nothing to do with Bryan Kohberger himself. And again, I don't mean this in a rude or nasty, mean way. I don't give a shit if Bryan did it or didn't do it. The investigation and lack thereof investigation is what bothers me. The way that they picked and got to this guy is what bothers me. The absolute blatant corruption is what bothers me. It has nothing to do with Bryan the person. Okay? All of that is what bothers me. And most of us I can speak for, I can say. These two gentlemen can speak for themselves, obviously, but that's what bothers me. It's not Bryan himself, okay? If he did it, he did it. If he didn't, he didn't. But they've never proven that he did. No matter what they say, they never proved it. So that's what it's all about. Welcome, Jesse. Thanks for joining us. So you got your wish, Eddie. We got somebody else up here with us.
Great to see you guys. Great to see you, Eddie. And
you as well, sir.
Hope you're not too mad at me for the things I've said recently. But
you said some bad things about me recently.
No, I don't think I've ever said bad things about you, Eddie. I don't
He
think
drinks.
anybody.
He drinks wine, and then he thinks he acts out certain ways, but he never does. So I don't. You're fine as always, Jesse.
No,
The
just
thing that.
conflicting opinions. That's all.
Oh well, that is what it is. We're adults, and we've been doing this for 4 years now together. So never been a problem before. I think we're all just fine, in my opinion. So.
Well, I can tell you both that I certainly look forward to being on panel with the two of you guys. It's something
Always.
that I look forward to after a long day.
Yes, I always enjoy having you here. The thing that still blows my mind, I don't know if you heard this, not Eddie, but Jesse used to be a kindergarten teacher. I'm still blown away by this, Jesse. It just blows my mind. It cracks me up. But that's what blows my mind more than anything. You were teaching kindergartners. That kills me. I love it. It's awesome, though.
Yeah, for like 5 or 6 years. So it's not like it was a gig for a few weeks or something. It was something I did for quite some time because nobody else wanted to do it.
That's pretty awesome. I love it. I love it. So, no, there's no issues with anybody that I know of. Nobody said a word. It just we're allowed to have conflicting opinions and come back the next day, like I always say, and do the same thing again and again. That shows that we can do that we're adults, and that we're able to have conversations without trying to go for each other's throats. It's insane. So, anyway, back to one thing that was said yesterday, like I said, by the Gonsalves in Vegas at CrimeCon, is that they would never want to put somebody innocent in prison for committing this crime. And all they want is the truth. And I almost fell out of my chair. To say that in itself is one of the most hypocritical things I've ever seen. You don't want the truth, because if you wanted the truth, you would look at the things that are in front of your face.
Yeah.
But they refuse. They refuse.
That's called look at what I say, not what I do.
Yes. Yes. That's a huge point. Because that's exactly what it is. And they started a foundation for her. God bless. Absolutely. You refuse. You refuse to look at things that don't make sense, but you'll look at the ones that don't. I don't understand it. I can't understand it as a parent and as a person. I just don't.
Well, we've all seen the text messages between Steve G and Brat Norton, where
Yes.
Steve G is aware that Dylan and Bethany listened to his daughter get absolutely slaughtered and did nothing about it and called no one and called for no help. And what does Steve G do about that? He endorses their side of the story. He defends them. And that says a lot about his character to me.
Right. Agreed. 100%. I do fully agree. They got to know what's true and what they have to know. There's no way. And if they're not reading documents when they're dropped, anything that's been FOIA'd, from my understanding, if anything in this case gets FOIA'd, they're alerted to it and get a copy of it, from my understanding, or copy of the FOIA request. So,
don't they have a lawyer on retainer as well?
They did.
And he should be reading the documents and explaining that in layman terms to them, because let's face it, I don't think they're the most sophisticated folks.
Right. And here, just so that the people don't run off with this, Steve never said Kaylee was adopted. He was talking about how they basically adopted Maddie as one of their own, and he said Kaylee. Christy corrected him right away. He never was claiming it was nothing. It was just a simple mistake. Okay. So I seen people going crazy.
I wanted to write down Steve's exact quote. I was watching Jules's video, and he's got if you actually write down the exact thing he said. I mean, I've had 2.5 bottles of wine tonight, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to speak a lot better than Steve did at CrimeCon. I don't know how much that guy drinks before he shows up in public, but some of the things that come out of his mouth, and Christy as well.
Oh yeah.
IGG doesn't tell you who did it. It tells you who didn't do it. And if there's 600 billion people in the world and on the moon and on Saturn as well, and you put them all together, like, what the hell was he talking about?
No idea, Jesse. No idea. The whole thing, we just kind of sat here like this, watching it the whole time. It was just like, what the hell? I think I had Moto, Kane was here, and you had stepped off already, but somebody else, and all of us were dead silent watching this, like, what are they talking about? It was so out there and so nonsensical. It was crazy. Grace asked, do you think there were other people watching the murders while they were happening?
I don't like that theory myself.
I don't know. Other than the perpetrators, Grace, I don't think so. Maybe one of the roommates. I'll say at least one, possibly, but not much. I'm with Jesse. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, other than possible extra perpetrators there and or one of the roommates, but nobody like standing there waiting for it all to go down.
I kind of interpreted that question to mean that there was a popular theory that it was like live streamed, right?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
And
I never have.
I never liked that theory, but
right. Well,
Dylan and Bethany, maybe I wasn't. If you're talking about Dylan and Bethany, then yeah, maybe.
I definitely believe Dylan probably was. I think, and I could be very wrong with this. I think Bethany is far removed from this, as far as she can be. I think it was kind of shoved down her throat, and she was drug into this possibly, which it would explain to me the reason why she ran as far as away from anything with this that she did. I feel that way. Real quick, sorry. As a parent who lost a child, I can't understand why they're in denial of the facts that have come out. Most of us can't, Susan. We have quite a few parents in here that have lost children that say the same thing. I've never, thank God, and anybody that has, God bless, you're always in my thoughts and prayers for anybody that's ever gone through that. But as a parent that never had to deal with that, even without that, I can't understand why you would not want absolute truth and real justice for the loss of your child. It's almost as though, and this is, I hate, to say certain things, but it's almost as though they just settled for what was given to them because they had no other choice and just said, they even said yesterday, I'm glad it's over, but it's not. Okay. Not in my opinion. It's not, because the people that committed the crime that took your child's life are still out there. So for me, it's not over. Okay. And that's how I see this. So I don't know. One of my biggest, as today, you're welcome, Susan, and God bless, hon. One of my, like with today's topic, for instance, did the victims know they're attackers? I absolutely, fully, 100% believe they did. And so does Kaylee's mother, because she said it. She said it from her own mouth. It probably I think it was maybe the first or the second interview. Again, Eddie probably knows this better because he has all of this notated, but it was probably the first or second interview. Christy came out dead to rights and said, I believe that it was somebody that they knew very well in their circle. I have no doubts. Okay. I also believe there was people there that night. Whether there was a party, I don't know. Was it a small get together or a larger gathering? I don't know, but I think there was. I truly and honestly think there was. I think it's possible something went wrong.
Could have been a dozen people in a big bag of white powder.
Right. Something could have just went wrong and poof. You know what I mean? It doesn't take but a second for things to go the wrong way. Or it was more than that. Because again, I still believe that there was distancing that night from that house and from those people on purpose because there was something in the air. Meaning that it had been put out throughout the week, possibly, or with the days before, that you might want to stay away from this situation because I think something's going to go down, whether such and such is going to get their ass kicked or the house is going to get trashed or something like that, okay? But I think it was something that started that way, and it turned a really hard right corner, and all the rest of this fell into play with it. And it maybe it wasn't supposed to, maybe it was supposed to, I don't know. But I'm 1,000,000% almost positive at this point now that the people that committed this crime were very close to the victims. Without a doubt, in my mind, folks. So, hold on 1 minute. Let me read this comment. That is the truth. That is the truth, Circus. We've talked about why does he do that? I'm looking for the comment. Wait. Did you all hear someone called MPD about G comment towards Bryan? I did not hear anything about that, G Bean. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Hey, can you share Living Dead Girl's comment? I like that one.
That's what I'm looking for right now. Oh, the background. Okay, I know. I always forget this. Hold on.
Living Dead Girl. Yeah. Thank you.
Let me find it real quick. Hold on. This one?
No, she said something about me looking like a famous actor.
Oh, geez. All right.
You know, she's pumping up my ego.
We're gonna stroke Jesse's ego today. That's okay. I have no problems doing it.
But I did see somebody in the comments saying that they think Bethany doesn't know what happened and Dylan does. And I will say that I want to just state my opinion on this. As much as I think Dylan is absolutely has guilty knowledge. I think Dylan knows what happened and she's been lying the whole time. However, I think anybody close to Dylan and anybody involved in that circle shares that guilty. I don't think you can separate any of the rest of them. All of them, Josie, Emily, Hunter, Lyndon, Bethany, how can you separate any one of them and say, well, they don't, like Dylan is successfully, I don't think she's that much of a mastermind that she has pulled the wool all over all of their eyes.
No.
And they're just like, oh, it was just some, it strikes me that something serious was going on, as Dago said that, there was something in the air. People knew something was going down. And those people are the people that I just mentioned.
I agree.
Josie, Hunter, Emily, that crowd, the whole crowd. And I think they all share the guilty knowledge.
Well, we're going to get into that too. Welcome, Mother. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're having a good day, dear. So Alec Baldwin and Colin Farrell are the two that people have said so far, Jesse. So I can
Colin Farrell. Wow.
There you go.
Well, ladies, tell all your friends. Maybe I'll post my email after the show. Don't tell my wife.
Oh, I was going to say, who's going to not tell your wife there, sir? I don't know. I'll be quiet. It's not my business. But anyway.
I'm kidding.
I know that. We all know that. Moving on. Here's the thing. Okay. I absolutely feel that there was a gathering. There's many little things that made me feel that way. It was weird to me that we found the jacket, okay, that Hunter Chapin wore that night to the Hunga Dunga with his brother, sister, and all that. Because Hunter was dropped off, from my understanding. They left the Hunga Dunga and was dropped off at Sigma Chi. Then he comes back with the vehicle, allegedly, that he was driving. He changed his clothes because he left a statement in the book. He left a statement with Xana on her phone that he was changing his clothes at her house, and then went back to the Sigma Chi party and was there with her. How the hell did Hunter Chapin's jacket get there unless people went back to their house? And this is what I'm curious. There's some little things like that bother me. Welcome, Tomboy. And they're just scrambled my brain like you wouldn't believe. So that's one little thing. I'm going to start with that, and we'll get into these other things too that point to the fact that there were people there, including the group Jesse just spoke about. Okay, I have thoughts that they were there that night, and we'll get into that here shortly. What's up, Tomboy? Any specific thoughts for you?
No.
Surely you didn't come on panel just to say no.
Are you still sick?
Uh-huh.
I can hear it.
I
welcome,
told you
Hang
I
Hang.
sound like a 12-year-old boy going through puberty.
A little bit. I can agree with that. And I know Eddie's not big on pointing to who did do this. Do you have any thoughts based on anything we've said so far, Eddie?
Yeah, I disagree that the victims knew who did it. And the reason is...
meaning, as in, you mean...
knew their attacker, like your...
okay, go ahead.
Thumbnail.
Got you. Keep talking, guys. I have to grab my drink real quick. I'll be right back.
I think one of the victims may have known. I don't think all of them knew.
Eddie, waiting for you to explain.
That could possibly be. Who's to say? So with the theory that the victims knew their attackers, there's a couple problems with that. First of which is, so are they still alive today? is one question you'd have to answer within yourself. Did they know when they were doing that law enforcement in the entire state would like rally behind them and cover for them? And since there's multiple attackers, we don't know exactly how many, but if the theory is that this is a situation that got out of hand, it escalated. If I'm understanding that theory right, how does that work with multiple people?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Can I interject, Eddie? I think my opinion might be not that they knew their attackers, but they knew the reason for the attack taking place. So they knew, they had foreknowledge that there might be that a problem might occur, and so whatever happened, they had foreknowledge, and then when it did happen, they know why it happened, as opposed to just no idea. We live a quiet life. We leave the doors open. The story that they've fed us clearly doesn't make sense, and there's plenty of contradictions in that. So whether or not they knew them, or whether they just knew the reason why it happened.
Well, does the state, we'll just call it the state, prosecution, law enforcement, investigators, however you want to say it, do they know who did it then? If the victims do know their attacker's theory, with that theory, does the state know that who did it?
I believe they do.
I mean, I would assume that the state would have to know who did it in order to conduct a cover-up to the magnitude that they've conducted a cover-up.
I believe they do. I'll get into why I believe what I do, but keep going, you guys. I think 1-1 was trying to join us too. There he is. Can you hear me, 1-1?
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go. Okay.
That means that this couldn't have been something that escalated because the state knew who did it before the 911 call was made.
Well,
These two topics kind of intermingle, don't they?
That's why we have these conversations, because of the. That's what I believe.
Because the cover-up was on right away before the 911 call. We can't prove it, but that is.
I definitely think it was law enforcement that was doing the cleaning. I don't believe it was college kids doing the cleaning.
And they set up, there's a prior arrangement to have the two surviving witnesses. Well, the one, especially surviving witness go along with being led into, the narrative.
Well, part of that, in my opinion, relates to the 8-hour delay. I'll just say that. That's part of where I think some of that comes from.
Well, yeah, because it has to make sense how they were blissfully ignorant of anything.
Right.
So that Dylan doesn't come up with that by herself. That
obviously, no, there's no way in hell.
That was done by law enforcement. So if this is an escalation situation, then the cops couldn't have known that at that early hour.
Well, okay. Let's say, for instance, that let me give a theory. Okay, if there was even one possible law enforcement official or officer, even if he's just a uni, okay, meaning a uniformed police officer involved in the whole thing, sure, I think that could be the end with that, if that makes sense. Now, what I believe, the reason why I believe this, okay, because I believe the people that committed the crime had been interacted with before, in the past, okay? If we go with some of what Paul has talked about, some of what I've talked about, some of what Lana's talked about, Jules, a few of us, and you throw that all in the blender together, push the button, and you can come to a somewhat of a, I know it's a bit of a hard thing to take. But if Eddie's making good points with this, how does this make sense with that? How does that make sense with this? Well, again, if there is or was any kind of law enforcement officers that are, I guess, how can I phrase it? Like in the pocket of somebody else. Let me say it that way, okay? So let me give you a for instance and see if it sticks for you. I showed you guys a video of a group, okay? Of a pretty large group of an organization that actually is made of two organizations that had come together within this area that was very highly involved in illegal operations. Okay, I think the bust tomboy, you remember, was that March of the same year,
Yes.
or was it? Okay, so March of that same year is when they were taken down to that extreme. I think the people were known on campus within those areas, at least two houses in that neighborhood, based on something Dave had said. Very well known. Okay, they were very, very well known, and they've been brought up again, time and time again, and we all know what they pertain to. You know what they do, why they're around, so on and so forth. Now, I believe, and I know we've seen this in other situations in the past for years. Okay, when you have a large organization that does what they do, a lot of times they have law enforcement in their pocket, meaning they pay off law enforcement to look the other direction or whatever it is. Okay, however you want to look at it. And this is me. This is just my opinion. Okay, I believe that there could have been, I believe that it's possible that house was kind of being watched that night as well. Like I said that I believed it was out. It was in the air that something may have been going down that night or that weekend. I'll put it that way. That weekend. Okay. Maybe it wasn't a specific night, but it was just that weekend, and people kind of stayed away.
But that's general. What do you mean by something was going down?
There was going to be some kind of a shakedown or maybe a confrontation per se that was going to happen that weekend.
About over what?
Retribution. There was the occupants of the house had enemies, and retribution was coming, and it wouldn't be a surprise to the occupants of the house if retribution came at any time.
Yeah, something that regarded.
Nobody has ever said they had enemies. That's the whole thing. It doesn't make sense.
Well, if not,
nobody's been honest though. All the interviews. That's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to pin this on Dylan and say Dylan's lying. The fact of the matter is, we're getting the same story from all these kids, and it doesn't make sense from. If it doesn't make sense from Dylan, it doesn't make sense from any of the other ones either. They're all telling the same. They're all going according to script, which means, in my opinion, my very humble opinion, they're all lying.
Well, I can agree with that. But as far as the enemy thing goes, I guess I'll just put it in layman's terms so it's more understood. I think that the organization that I'm talking about is obviously related to drugs. Okay. And I think that the drug situation, something, I don't know what it is yet. I don't think we do. None of us do, but something went wrong. Okay. And it had something to do with that house and the people in that house. In turn, it was put out in the air.
Yeah.
Something happened. Again, I don't know what that thing is. And that something's going to go down. I don't know that either. I don't know what it was meant to be. If it was meant to be what it was, or if it was going to be, it wasn't, just a confrontation that turned bad, like I said. So
if you don't mind me stepping in real quick, so far you're like in step with Pav's theory, but you're just giving it a more general, broad overbrush. His is more specific with.
That's why I referred to him.
Who.
Right.
So, okay, I'm following you. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why I referred to him. And I said, what was it, a month or so, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I said I'm really focused in on what Pav's theory's been recently because a lot of things are pointing in this direction. So I'm with that. Okay, I'm fully with that. That's why I threw that video up and had you guys watch that from the takedown from March of that year. And I can't get past it, get it out of my head at this point. So my thought is that certain people within that group interacted in that house. We already know that, okay? Male and female, at least two of them that were part of that organization pretty strongly, in my opinion. And there's maybe others, but again, so my thought is something went wrong, like I was saying. And again, I don't know what it was. We don't have any absolute thoughts of what it was. It could be something with the parents. It could have been something with them personally. You're going to make it there, Tomboy?
I'm fine.
Damn, a crusty booby. Damn you, crusty booby. But yeah, you sound fine. It could be with the parents. It could be them personally, like I was saying, that they had some involvement somewhere they shouldn't have. That's where I'm at with it in that aspect. But I do believe that the people in that house interacted with those people and maybe some other people that interacted with them as well. They were very well known to that community. So whatever that thing is what we're looking for, in my opinion, to figure out exactly what it was that happened that provoked this murder to happen. Okay. These murders, I'm sorry. So in turn, and again, I believe there's at least one, if not more, law enforcement officers that know about this situation that are interacting with these people as well. And one being here is actually a good thing, because working in law enforcement, you do know, but you can probably justify or not justify, verify for me that, yes, at times there are police that are on the take with criminals, right or wrong, sir. If you can hear me. Are you there still, 1-1? Maybe not. He might be working. So, again, we've seen it. And yes, sir.
Sorry, I stepped in.
Go ahead.
Did you want me to? Okay. Where your theory and Pov's theory seem to diverge is you're saying that the perpetrators are still out there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I believe, yes.
If this is as big as we know it to be, I mean, isn't that a liability? I mean, if you were the state, would you want them still out there? I mean, they're not like, whoever did this, that's not like your upstanding citizens.
Of course not.
You know, and it's like if a wild beast of tooth and claw, you know, like a bear or lion, is a man eater, you have to put it down, because it will happen again, right?
Of course.
So they're out there still, and law enforcement knows this, in your theory.
I mean, I would imagine. I think everybody knows at this point, yeah.
But your theory and Pov's theory diverge because they're no longer breathing. They were no longer with us before the arrest.
Maybe one. Correct. I think maybe one may have, or maybe deceased. One of them. I still think there's others that were involved that are out there still. That's my opinion.
And law enforcement knows that.
Of course they do. And I think, again, the reason why I understand what you're saying is that could be a liability. Sure. But again, there's also, I think, a control aspect to this, and how can I say this? When you have people that are in bed together, good or bad, okay, like a criminal aspect along with a law enforcement aspect that are in bed together, you know what I mean by that, okay? They protect each other. I know, like I said, I agree with Pov's theory, but I have another part of it that I kind of go a little off to the side with. I still believe, I think one of them that I do really believe could have been responsible is gone now. I still am not comfortable with putting Brent Kopaka in this yet. Okay, if that's what's being referred to, I don't believe yet that he had an involvement. Do I believe that he may have been being looked at as being a patsy for this? Sure. And that could be something that, to the reason why he was taken out, because he started talking and freaking out, and that was a liability, so that had to be stopped. Now, that's where I feel like he could have fit in. But we all know one of the other people that Pavarotti brought to the table with this. He's deceased. I do believe he may have had involvement in this, okay? Now, there could be a handful of other people that are still with us that are possibly responsible. granted, yes, it's a liability, but I believe that there's a control that aspect of those people has over the community, if that makes any sense. If I'm saying it right, that the other people that are still with us, that are still out there, have a control aspect over the community, including law enforcement and the local government, in my opinion, is why I believe they're still out there. Meaning they're kind of working together to some aspect, and there's like a fear, maybe, possibly, of keeping your mouth shut. We're not going to put this out to the world, and it's not going to happen. And if it does happen again, per se, they've already gotten away with it once. It's hard to say. I'm trying to find the right words, and I can't come to the total aspect of what I'm trying to say to make it make sense. I believe it was a drug aspect, as I said, that there was a large group of people that have a combined, two groups combined, as we looked into and found out. With that bus that I showed, I think there's some high roller people that were involved with that because of the income that it was bringing in possibly to the community as well. Okay. If you know what I'm trying to say with that. I think they were, we have a college, we have a town, two towns, two colleges, if you want to be honest about it. And I think they were using the college to distribute, for lack of better terms, I guess, what they were doing. I think that's partially the reason why the task force was on the ground when they were. Welcome, Krista and Sausage. Good to see you both. But I think there was they stepped away when all this went down, and these people are being protected, in my opinion. We also saw the two people I'm talking about, okay, that were interacting with the people in this house regularly, from my understanding, were arrested and charged with murder from distributing to somebody else that was a student there, and they just let them go. Charges were dropped, and they let them go, and off they go. If people don't see that and say something's not right here, you have to. You just kind of have to. There's no way that could happen unless there's a link there, if that makes any sense. Which is why I believe that the victims knew their attackers, because I think everybody knew their attackers. And I think there's a fear of those people, hence the reason why people aren't talking. And I think everybody, even, the Sigma Chi thing is a little different. Like, Jesse, you brought up the interviews and so on and so forth, why they all sound scripted, so on and so forth. Of course, I think they all got together and said, this is what you talk about, this is what you don't talk about beforehand. That's what I believe.
Okay, well, they can script that, but they can't script what the officers say, and the officers sound scripted too, because they're not pushing back, right?
And that's why I think they're scripted right there. Yes, thank you, Krista.
And this is why I don't subscribe. I like Pav. I'm a fan. I watch Pav, so it's not like I'm anti-Pav. I'm watching his videos. I'm in the comments. Who am I to disagree with Pav? But regarding his theory, I think it's just missing. It's missing something, because the scope of it, for officers to be delivering scripted interviews, and for frat boys to have scripts prepared for interviews, for Dylan to be saying she didn't think it would be a firearm, but on second thought she thinks it is a firearm, and for the interviewing officer to gloss over that and not even acknowledge that she mentioned a firearm, you know what I mean? Like, just moves on and acts as if that a firearm was never mentioned.
I agree.
The scope of this has to be larger to me. It just has to be. It has to involve politics and power structure and big, governors and religious leaders and these kind of things to get to the point. With all the fuckery we've seen in this case, this isn't just the Aryan Knights and a drug dealing case. To me, like, for example, the college kids that I mentioned, the Hunters and Emilys. Well, let's say it's the Aryan Knights, and let's say Hunter and Emily have some knowledge about this, and somewhat, they had to go along to get along. They don't need to go on national television and do like interviews lying about a murder case to go along to get along to avoid, you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
There's an awful lot of people telling lies in this case, and it's got the kind of corruption that is required to make so many people lie and so many people be so invested in lying. I think goes beyond just a simple Aryan Knights, you flush their drugs down the toilet story. In my opinion,
that's not his story. You must not pay too close of attention to what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Is his theory not deep enough that it would tick those boxes? You've oversimplified and mischaracterized what his theory is.
I'm not trying to misrepresent his story, but enlighten me. What I don't know how it gets from I know his theory is the perpetrators are Aryan Knights. I don't know how that gets to like in conjunction with the power brokers like Scott Green.
Well, let me add to that, Jesse, real quick. I was getting ready to ask a question before that got brought up. Krista, I'm sorry, Jesus. Real quick, thank you, Krista, for that membership, and it went to you, so congrats and welcome to the sauce. But Tomboy is from this area. This is what I was going to ask real quick. You know the two organizations that I'm talking about that were combined at one point, so on and so forth, because of being from this area. Can you kind of relate to me or to everybody how can I say this? How strong those two groups are, and then coming together as one, and the power that they have over the community. Can you relate that to the community or to the chat and everybody real quick, please? And how in depth it goes.
The Aryan Brotherhood started just outside of Rathdrum, actually. They were the leader of that was found guilty of running over a guy or something in the 90s. The court found him liable. They sued him civilly. He lost their headquarters there in Rathdrum to the people who sued him. So they burned it down. Well, they tried to start it up again. But that is, I don't think a lot of people understand how big the drug problem is there. Washington State and Idaho State are known as the meth capitals of the world. That's how bad it is. They have rolling meth labs. I mean, they go into the woods at any random time and make a batch, and there you go. It's huge. But then when the Aryan Brotherhood went into the prison system, that's when it combined into the Aryan nation and the Aryan family.
And that's the point that I'm making is like how high up the nation and family goes. It's not just street criminals.
Do you guys remember the other murder that was relatively close to this? The Skylar Mead and Uppenauer case?
Right.
Skylar Mead's brother runs the Aryan family from the Idaho Department of Corrections. He's the higher up there at the Idaho Department of Corrections.
So
his brother and this Nicholas Uppenauer concocted a plan to get out and go kill a guy that was in Julietta. Well, they didn't find him. He wasn't home. So they're like, okay, well, let's go get the next best thing. You remember Kelly Farley? The guy that they ended up killing in Orfino, Idaho was her uncle and his boyfriend. Tell me this shit ain't connected.
Well, and that's right. And then the other part of that, though, is what I was trying to say is Kim said, I think Miss Potts is right on target. Some kind of a cult, sex trafficking. I think that some of the deceased victims were involved in it in the first floor.
I was listening to Miss Potts last night with Sergeant Friday, and she she had some sort of wild theories, but I mean, they were striking a chord with me. It was getting really deep, like, you know, Mr. Jeffrey kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm
mean,
the type of guy that's pretty skeptical when people throw the whole essay, trafficking stuff around.
right.
You guys, like, for example, I live in Thailand, right? So a lot of times I'll go back home to Canada, or I'll travel, and people will say, "Oh, what about all that stuff going on there?" And I'll say, "Well, what do you mean?" Because what you see in the media and what you actually get from living on or even being, if you've ever been present for a big event and then you see it represented in the media, sometimes it's misrepresented, right? And people represent, like, in Thailand, there's people just selling their children on the street. And it's just, I can tell you from my own experience in 25 years, that's just not happening. And it's pretty racist to suggest that it's happening. Like, the community I live in, Thai people, my neighbors, they're not, that's not the kind of people that I live around and my kids go to school with. And when people say that kind of thing, like, "Oh yeah, this is all going on in Thailand," it's like, well, you're kind of suggesting that the people here have lower morals and lower character than the people where you're from. And I take exception to that. But what Miss Potts brought up is there's also a cottage industry around projecting that narrative and getting money from people, and actually which is like a smokescreen, and they're actually the perpetrators themselves that are doing and I've actually encountered groups that come to Thailand to do that, and she was talking about this, and I can't really describe what her theory was, but it was starting to make sense to me. I'd love to have her explain it again.
Sure. What I was trying to explain when I said that earlier, when I asked Tomboy to speak on that, is the one part of the organization, the Brotherhood, okay? It's not just street criminals. It's not just people that are in prison. It's not just drug dealers. It's not just...
It's anybody who can make them money.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's
definitely.
my point, okay? And guys, if anybody's ever followed anything to do with Aryan Knights, Aryan Brotherhood, and this and that, there's very important people that are involved in that organization, okay? I looked into this more than once, and I'm talking people that hold office in government seats, okay? Law enforcement officials, attorneys, judges, doctors, nurses. They're all in, it's a family. It's an organization of people, okay? And anybody that can bring money to the organization, or power, okay? There's the word, power, to the organization. They're involved, okay? That's the thing that I'm trying to point to with this. That
Actually,
is
I
how...
don't think it was the college kids that got involved. I think it was the parent. The parents got involved in situations they had no idea what the outcome would be if they snitched.
That's possible too, but what I'm saying about the college kids is I think the college was used, the fraternities were used, and I know you can agree with this. We've already kind of proven it. The fraternities and sororities are used for distribution. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay.
Yeah,
No doubt. And they've even admitted.
And it fits perfect. And I could tell you, from my law enforcement perspective, just
Now you're
think
back.
of, yeah, I'm here. Think about it logically. Fraternities and sororities, they're very, very, I mean, I know they're all different. I'm not saying, my wife is from a sorority, so
Sure.
I'm not saying they're all bad, not
Right.
at all. But what do they have? They have that strict code, right?
Right.
So it fits perfectly. If you could infiltrate and have some kind of whatever, drug thing going on or something going on, it's the people, they're not gonna rat each other out.
Right. The omerta right there.
Yeah.
That's it right there. Okay. You don't, and you can take that all the way back to the mob, and it plays the same damn way, period, point blank. Okay. You don't fucking talk. And if you do, you disappear. Okay, so
Right.
here comes
There's
the
that-
fear aspect.
There's that saying, snitches get stitches.
Of
Okay,
course,
Yes.
so if somebody snitches and you can't give them stitches, what are you going to do?
you get the next
Yeah.
best thing.
You
I
are
understand.
going
Right,
to go to the nearest thing that means the most to them.
of course, and
Agreed.
that's where Pop's theory comes into play. Okay, now
Yeah.
the part
And
that
I just want,
throwing.
I was just gonna jump in and just say, and sorry, Dago, just and with the two slices or cuts on Kaylee and Maddie from ear to ear, to me are very, very,
The message.
particular. I think they mean something. I really do.
It's a message. Yes,
Yeah.
I pointed that out before. It very likely can be a message. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I threw the college into this, guys, is what I was trying to explain with that. If they're distributing for them, okay, they've been told, here, you're going to do this. You're going to make money. You're also going to keep your fucking mouth shut. And if shit happens, you don't talk about it. And that's where the fear aspect of this comes into play with me. That's why people, I think, are not talking, okay? Because there's a fear that if I say something and it's the wrong thing, I'm going to disappear. Period. And that's how I see this. So that's kind of why my whole theory that they knew who their attackers were. Maybe they knew why, maybe they didn't. Okay, but if you based it off of what Tomboy was saying and kind of where Pop went with it, something Bryan from Bryan's Ramblings told us 4 years ago, like the third week of this, and everybody said no, 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 no. Well, okay, we all know that some of the parents had been arrested. We also know that some of the parents were involved within these groups, and with certain things they were getting, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a very, very likely possibility. Okay. Hell, even one of the parents was interviewed and made a statement that threw me to the floor. This better not be because of redacted. Because of what?
Yeah.
Something that you were involved in? Come on. I'm not mad at her. It's not her fault. Okay. But that's a very good point.
It doesn't Steve G. Doesn't he have some relation to? What is it, like his
brother?
His
brother, right?
His brother's in Washington State.
But what he's saying though is, doesn't he have a relation to the organization?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Right.
Yes. And his brother was convicted of
killing somebody else
over drugs.
Right.
Wow.
This is why it drives me insane that they refuse to look at the options that are out there. Okay. That's why it bothers me so bad, because this can happen. You've seen it happen with your own family, but you don't want to look at it. That's why I believe what I believe. I'm just saying. And I think the entire town is under lockdown because of fear of this situation, that nobody wants to talk. We've seen people get discharged from this town. Rory, Lee. I mean, come on. They were run out of the town just for being there, and they know who they are. They don't want them talking about it. They don't want them looking into it. People are just like, leave it alone. We don't want to talk about it. I think that's because of a fear. That's truly what I think. And I was asking you weren't here at that point, but I brought up the fact that maybe even if one law enforcement officer is involved with this organization, even in New York, NYPD is one of the largest police organizations in the world, okay? I guarantee, I know you're not involved, but I guarantee you've seen police officers on the take, okay?
Yeah.
You've seen, it happens every day, folks. It's happened in my tiny little town, okay? When you hand over a certain amount of money to somebody and say, look the other direction, most of the time, a lot of them do it, okay? Because it's money. That's what it is. It all goes back to money. So my thoughts on this is that they did know who this was. Again, whether or not they know exactly why, I don't know. That's what I'm not 100% sure of based on what Pop has said, few other people have said, so on and so forth. It could be related to their parents. It could be related to a mistake that was made. It could be that there was a package delivered at this household, possibly, that got thrown away or something, or somebody stole it. There's many options that this could be, is all I'm saying. 100%, I don't know. But the things we just all said is what I believe is the deal here. The whole thing.
Y'all can ask Dago. I have been hollering and screaming and stomping my feet since day one that this is from drugs.
I think a lot of us have, yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And I have also said that this was more than one person.
100%.
Because to control 4 people, whether
you're not going to do it
or not, it's not going to happen. Even if they were asleep, there's no way you're going to get 4 people. Somebody's going to make a noise.
They're not going to stay asleep. Right. So that's, did I make the ends meet, Eddie, or am I still off a little bit with what your thoughts are?
Good question. Well, let's have you add one more element to this, and that is considering what we know to be true about the wounds.
Absolutely.
Is that rage, or is that a message sent? Discuss.
Is it possible that it's both? Is it possible to you that it could be both?
Well, rage, that would be like infidelity, someone leaving another, right?
Or you mess with somebody's money.
Money, yeah.
Money will cause rage too.
I wouldn't deny that.
I
how does all 4 were targeted?
I think detectives actually say that money actually doesn't cause the same kind of rage as like.
I would agree, Jesse.
I mean, I know where you're at with that.
I believe that murder and I'm just going by what I remember hearing. I know one's not. Are you a detective? One, not a murder detective.
No, I'm a captain right now.
You probably heard that. It's always the boy. It's always the boyfriend. It's always the boyfriend, and it's always the overkill thing is generally relationship based and sexual.
To have a crime committed first off with a knife, some kind of blade. It's a very close thing.
Personal, yeah.
The only thing that may be closer than that is like strangling someone, but it's but then
very personal, yeah.
Right. It's very, very personal. You have to get in. You got to get in close. And killing 4 people with a knife too. Although we don't know what this firework, whatever this thing is. It's it obviously it has to be. It's got to be some kind of weapon, obviously, right? Some kind of gun or something. It does go against kind of my experience. We have something called spot shotters all over New York City, and if it even something sounds like like a back. A muffler, like a motorcycle or a car, sometimes that can trigger it. I mean, we get all kinds of people call 911 and they go crazy. So, and no, a silencer is not going to stop. People have this weird, they're used to watching movies. They think if you put a silencer on the gun that it removes all sound. That's not what happens. That's just what they show in movies. Silencer on a weapon
the other day.
A silencer still makes sound, and in that area where they were, that place was an echo chamber. Lee and JJ went there. A bunch of other people went there. That place was an echo chamber. So it was, whatever it was, 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. It's still, this happened overnight. It's hard to believe that a gun, like some kind of shot, would go off and no one would call 911 at all. But I don't see like what possibly. It's obviously not a firework. What the hell would a fire? Like what else could it be? It's not It's not a stun. It's not a stun. A taser doesn't make. It makes a loud sound.
It doesn't make that noise,
not as
though.
loud. Not as loud as a gun. But it would if Bethany said, I heard, it sounded kind of like, kind of like a stove. It's someone, what it basically sounds like, it sounds like a stove, like someone trying.
Taser makes a clicking noise. That's what it does.
It sounds like someone's trying to turn. Like if you think about, for those of you who don't know, if you have a gas stove and you ever try to turn on the stove and it doesn't turn on right away, and you hear like that weird like clicking sound, a taser's kind of similar to that.
Right. It's the igniter on a stove. It makes the same sound. It's a little bit more powerful, but just the same sound.
So if she said I heard kind of like a weird clicking sound or something, I would say, yeah, she's describing some kind of taser. But a taser going off when you shoot it, it doesn't make a firework. It doesn't.
It doesn't make orange light either.
Dylan said she saw what she thought was a firearm.
No, right. Well, I'm just saying, like, they one of them said that it was some kind of firework or whatever. Obviously, it's like, what the hell would it's not fireworks.
Just those two statements combined, though. One saying, I heard a bang, saw a flash. One saying, I saw a gun.
Well,
and the interviewing officers are like, yeah, that's all good. We don't want to talk about that, though. They're just like, no. Tell me about something else.
You got that, and then the big thing. I know we covered it on Crimes After Dark. It is a pretty big thing where, what was it, Payne? I guess, right? He said that
shell casings.
Well, not that. Where he thought that this was like some kind of murder suicide at first from Ethan.
Right.
But why would he say that?
Nunez said that.
I mean, Nunez said it. Sorry. Like, it's a weird statement to make.
On top of that, you got the body cam footage of somebody saying, go around the house and look for shell casings. And you also have the niece calling the G family at like early in the morning saying Kaylee got shot.
Right. Right.
Again, I just don't think you just picture yourself calling one of your family members to tell a family member that their daughter got shot. If you're not, you're not just going to say that without kind of knowing what's going on,
Right. And it's a good point. And that is, when you hear some of these witness, these different interviews.
Not only that, where's the interview with that niece? Where's the interview with the niece?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear a deposition from her saying, oh, so you called and said that they got shot. Where did you get that information from?
Right.
Who told you that? Why have we not seen that?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that was what went around in the Snapchat and whatever. The first story that went around to all the fraternities and all of them was that someone was shot. That was the first thing that went around. So why is that?
Well, I guess the reason why I wanted to bring up the nature of the wounds is, I mean, if we're going to explore this topic, did the victims know their attackers? I mean, that kind of has to be settled, don't you think? Is it?
No, I agree.
Personal in nature and rage? Because, like I put in chat earlier, that would suggest one versus one more so.
I agree with that 100%. By the way,
message being sent, that now ticks the box for having 4 victims with 2 survivors.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I was going to go into that too. Now, I do believe you're right. That's a good point. Absolutely, very good point, Eddie. Both of them. So, trying to find the comment in chat that I didn't see. Hold on.
I absolutely agree. Rage would be 1 against 1, right? That's what he said in chat. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But that, that's what's perplexing about this case is there's so many things where.
Right. Where I was going to go with that, okay? The way I see it, I should say. Going back to what I was talking about with the organizations that were working together, that so on and so forth. It's also understood and very much thought that there was a connection with Dylan Mortensen to those organizations as well. Okay. When she made the statement in her interview that they asked a question, Dylan, why do you think they just walked by you and left you alone? Well, I believe they knew me and were trying to protect me. Well, from what we've learned, it's believed that Tomboy fell out the window. It's believed that there's a connection between her and one of these organizations, possibly. So, going in that direction, okay, is the rage, is it possible that this is two things at one time? And this is something I struggle with, okay? I'm not saying I fully believe this, but is it possible that this is two things happening at the same time? Okay? That this goes down and this person that maybe has a connection to this organization is involved, was used to bring this situation into effect. Is that possible to me? Sure. Is it possible she was involved? Yeah. So I see where Eddie's disconnect is on this, guys. Don't get me wrong. I do. This is the part of this that I'm still struggling with. This is what I'm still very highly struggling with on this. Okay. Ms. Logan, Bronx Tales in the house. Good to see you, dear. So at that point, this is where my questions come out to everybody else. You know, is it two situations going on within the house on the same night with the same people? Okay, this is what my whole question was with this today, and I knew at some point it would come to this. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, because I do believe that one of the roommates has some possible disturbing issues. I do also believe that that person is connected to one of these groups and protected possibly by one of these groups, as well as the attorneys that she have that are in her family. So that has kept her out of the light and now under protection in that aspect too. But going back to the scene, Eddie brings a massively important point. There does seem to be rage. Okay. It's very hard to look away from one of the victims and say she's not the target.
You misinterpreted my point. I'm sorry. I'm
His
more
point was
of the
that-
mindset of this is a message being sent.
Well, that goes back to what I said to begin with, that I believe that it was a message. Okay. But by whom? Okay. Is it one message by one entity, or is it multiple messages being sent by more than one person with two things happening at the same time? That's kind of where I'm at with that. It still goes back to what I was saying. What do you believe? Let me ask you this to make it easier, if you don't mind, Eddie. Like, what message do you believe could be being sent with this from that night? Sorry.
Well, I'll answer. I'll satisfy two lingering questions. The question
Sure.
you just posed now, and Jesse had a question for me earlier.
Okay.
He was talking about Pov's theory, and I kind of reprimanded him for oversimplifying it, and never had a chance to
Right.
to explain. And it's been months since he's had a video on it, so
Yeah.
an impromptu attempt to try to give a general overview of what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, too, anybody. If two of the victims, one on the third floor, one on the second floor, each had a parent who maybe they've had drug trouble themselves in the past, and as a way to get a sentence, a lighter sentence, so to speak, has become like an informant and has now kind of agreed to do work, so to speak, for the state, for law enforcement. So they do, and they cross a line, and they are now, they've offended somebody, and now there's retribution. Okay, and like Tomboy said, but they can't get to them. Maybe they're being protected. So what's the next best thing than to, even the score? If you can't get at your target, everybody knows the answer to this question. So
Of course.
Am I tracking right? Did I kind of get the theory?
Well, that's kind of where I went
Explained.
with what I said too.
Jesse,
That's
does
what
that
I was
help?
trying to say. Jesse,
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
as I understand it, you're in line with Pavarotti's theory. And like I said, I'm not opposed to Pavarotti's theory. I just think that it goes a little bit deep. What I'm saying is I've got questions more. I've got more questions, and I think it goes deeper. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying
that's what I meant, Jesse, when I said what I said earlier. You're right. Okay. Going with what Eddie just said. When I asked Tomboy that question about how high up and how deep this organization goes, like I said, there's very important people involved in this organization as well that will attorneys, judges, doctors, police officers, nurses, even the grocery store owner. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people involved in this organization that people just don't think. They're not just criminals. You know what I'm saying? And so at that point, you have to look at the surrounding aspect and the entire community probably having a very large involvement with many people. So they're all going to be quiet. They're all going to protect each other, including the government, the prosecution, the
I think
judges, all that.
I think this is bigger than all that. And as an example, one of the biggest law tubers on YouTube that we're all very fond of, and we were all very fond of, and very respect their coverage of the Karen Reed case and the Delphi case. I was watching their live today, and they were covering the Tyler Robinson trial, a trial that's
right,
not that consequential. It's just a pretrial hearing. There was nobody in the chat. There was no viewers. And I'm thinking to myself, if this person was covering the recent docs dropped in the Idaho 4 case, this is a person that covered the Idaho 4 case, their views would be going through the charts if they were talking about the Idaho 4 case, but they're not. And why aren't they? Money. Somebody somewhere, some incentive has told them, and I just don't think that happens for the Aryan Knights. I think it's bigger than that. That doesn't mean I don't think the Aryan Knights actually were there and did. Pav's theory may be 100% correct.
Real quick, Jesse, without knowing or having any clue who you're talking about, would this also explain that? Is it possible that back in the day that they were like maybe not staunchly guilt no matter what, but they kind of sent a message that they were like this passive, like I was explaining earlier, like you could tell that they were leaning that way, but you couldn't like put a finger on it.
No, I'm talking about somebody who is renowned for being a protector of the innocents, somebody who is fighting, somebody who is present at Delphi for the Richard Allen trial and actually fighting with the judge, doing legal action against you know what I mean? Like a hero, a fucking hero who is now just, and we're talking about, to me, for this kind of thing to happen, it's got to be
their name, Jesse. It's okay. It's
got to be a big thing. I don't want to trash anybody, especially somebody who I used to respect so much. But yeah, I mean, I think most people know.
I know who you're talking about. I do. And
there's a whole group of them, and there's a whole group of them who I used to respect so much, who I consider to be very reputable and quality creators and assets to true crime on YouTube. But the fact that they've all just turned their back on this case and hidden from what's going on, to me, that's a sign, man, that this is the kind of thing that's like in only happens in really big, in like the
yeah, but the answer was to that, well, he pled guilty, so we're done. That's what they've said. She said it. A few others have
But
said it.
they all know better than that, though.
Well,
Come on.
I know, but that's the answer that's been put. That's the answer that's been put out there. So, I think obviously you think that it goes a little bit deeper than that, and I gather, I get it, and again, I, my point with what Eddie was talking about, Pavarotti's theory, this and that,
Well, hold on.
it does go pretty high.
Richard Allen pled guilty fucking 3 years ago, right? 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, it was just last. I thought it was last. No, you're right. It's been a minute.
I mean, he confessed years.
Oh
ago,
yeah, years ago, right?
So if somebody is staunchly defending Richard Allen after he confessed, the whole he pled guilty thing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Doesn't really jive for me.
Well, the one part of that group of people, they always thought Bryan was guilty, if you remember, okay? If you're talking about the other side of them, too. I very much supported them with the Delphi case, 100%. And they always seemed to believe Bryan was the one that did it. So, that part of it, I don't know. But she definitely blew my mind. I'll be honest with you, she did. Because I thought for sure she'd look at this. She even questioned, at the end of it, she questioned things that made me think that she's going to come back and look into it more, but she never did. So truly and honestly, I'm like a little, I agree with you on that aspect, but I don't understand it. That's all I'm saying.
I think they know better than to swing too far the other way. The other way being, Kohberger is innocent.
That could make
they're
sense.
in these circles, and it would affect their employment or their financial, at least, the reputation.
Well,
they could get injured that way.
That's the thing. I think it's a lot to do with financial, because the way they're covering other cases as well indicates that there's a certain side that they're on, and it isn't the truth
that they have to be on, per se, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And that goes right along with what Eddie said. They know better than to swing so far over. So I get it, and I understand. I agree. It's a little strange. Okay. But what I was saying, though, is that aspect of it does go pretty high. Like I said, senators and governors are involved within this organization as well, believe that or not, to this day, especially in the South. My wife's family from Alabama, and they still have rallies and burn crosses and do the whole White Hood thing down in the South and different places. They still have these groups down there, you guys. It blows my mind. And the people that are involved are local government officials. It's crazy. I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but it still does go on. Okay. And the people that are involved are people you don't expect to be involved, is what I mean. There's judges and doctors and nurses and lawyers and all sorts of things going on. And so if these people have a level of control over a community, that's the point I was trying to make. So I'm just saying that's kind of my thought on it,
Well, what about channels like Lawyer, right? He's a big channel, popular guy, everybody likes him. He covers all these, but he seems to be hesitant to talk about this case. Like he's covering the Sharilla case. He was all over Karen Reed. He's still all over, he seems to be scared to cover Idaho 4, to me.
A lot of people do, Jess. I mean, and I think that's why I think people are afraid of what they know, if that makes any sense to you. If you follow along with Pavarotti and what he said, and a few of us others have brought to the surface and said, look at what I said not too long ago. How many attorneys have tried to come forth and said, I'll cover this. I'll be Bryan's attorney. Nobody wants to touch this, you guys. Nobody.
And it's a fucking gold mine for YouTubers. I mean,
it could be.
Like like for example, the lawyer, if the lawyer, or a lot of these other big YouTubers, if they start doing Idaho 4 content, everybody's watching. Everybody's watching.
Of course. Yes.
And the fact that they're not doing it, it's not like they don't know. They're scared to touch it. It's quite clear that they're scared to touch it.
It does seem that way, and I think it's because of fear of consequence. What's going to happen?
They can read the tea leaves.
Yeah, yeah. I think some of the.
But Eddie, you don't think they're scared of the Aryan? You don't think Lawyer is scared of the Aryan Knights? Surely.
I don't know what they're scared of directly, but they know better than to cover it.
Government, power structure, politicians.
That's yeah. Let me point something out to you, Jesse. Let me go back to the Delphi case real quick, okay? I think you were around when we covered some of this stuff.
I watched. There's a few I covered. So I don't cover anything, but I followed Karen Reed, Delphi, and Idaho 4 as cases of interest.
So, remember the attorney that stepped in when Fran Gall forced the defense team to recuse himself? William Labrado. He stepped in as Alan's attorney. He did an interview that I covered here. 3 times I've covered his interview. The man, when he came on for the interview, looked like the fear of God had been sent through him. When he's talking about it, he's very nervous. He looked scared. He sounded scared. He said he was scared. Okay. He talked about the whole town with the whole Odinism thing, which is another type of organization. And he said, I didn't believe in it. I didn't think it was a real thing. And it absolutely is a very real thing. Then, I can't remember how long it had been, but not too long afterwards, from what we found out, he was jumped and had the shit beat out of him and retracted some of his statements. Now, that type of fear is what I'm imagining some other people may have with different cases, per se, okay? Because if you think about that situation, put 2 and 2 together, 4 equals exactly what we all know. And we all know why he was jumped, why he was attacked, why he retracted things, because of things he said that he shouldn't have said. And then you don't hear from him ever again. So is that part of what's going on here? Possibly. I can see it. Based on everything I said today, that all fits in that boat for me, if that makes sense. But again, I believe that there's a lot more important people involved than just street criminals or just drug dealers. That's why I'm saying that, attorneys, judges, lawyers, or I said attorneys, judges,
I think governors and congressmen, and I think it goes that high.
Yeah, absolutely. I
said, I don't think the Lawyer, is afraid of Moscow drug dealers. I really don't.
It's not just Moscow drug dealers. That's the point I was trying to make. You are correct.
We're talking.
That's why, yeah, absolutely.
Big, powerful entities to make what's happened happen. We're talking about really powerful people.
100%. I fully agree with you.
And I want to apologize to chat for trying to speak in coded language, but it's just not for me to come on panel here and start trash talking other people in the community would not be fair to Dago or anybody else, because
it's understood.
My opinions are my opinions, and I try to. I don't want to slander it. I think everybody figured it out, but I don't want to slander other channels.
It's all good. I respect that. I do, and thank you. But yeah, I think that the Aryan Nation, I'll just call it that, because there's many versions of it and many things linked to it. Okay, I think is a big thing. Okay, and I agreed. Like I said, judges, governors, senators, mayors, doctors, everybody, they're involved in the organization. In turn, the power structure, like you were saying, which is absolute, over top of the situation, which is why these organizations get away with the things they do. So, like I said earlier, if even one law enforcement officer is in the pocket of this, which I believe there's many of them, here's a $15,000. Look over there while we do what we do here. That's what I think is going on here, okay? And I have no doubt in my mind, it's the only way that this makes sense, Jess. The only thing that makes this come to a level of understanding for me, if it was just small town, criminals, and that's why I can't get on board with the...
Well, that doesn't mean Pav's theory is wrong either, though. Like, but those guys might have all been involved, and they might have even been the perpetrators, but the reason for the cover-up has to go, I haven't heard
Well,
a
Scott
good enough
Green,
theory.
throw him in there too.
Yeah, it's
There
got
you
to
go.
involve Scott Green, and there's something missing that I can't put my finger on. I'm not saying I have a better theory. I'm just saying it's got to be
But do
bigger
you
and deeper.
remember? You're right. Do you remember something Steve said? So I'm sure you guys will. And I took it away that maybe I shouldn't have. Steve Gonsalves made a statement a long time back. I'm sure he said a lot of things, but this one kind of caught my attention. And he said, "That's why we moved here." He was talking about the type of town it was, the type of state it was, the type of area it was. That's why we moved here. Okay.
I took
So-
it as he was trying to get away from immigrants and people that aren't white. Basically,
Well, he was also talking about the death penalty. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was part of it. You know, that's one of the reasons why we moved here. So I think that Steve has certain beliefs too, that this area does, a lot of this area does. And but the death penalty thing was thrown in there as well. And it's the way they look at things, the way that they prosecute, the way that they do this, they do that, amongst other things, in my opinion. I think
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think Steve has many black friends or Mexican friends.
Yeah, I don't
or
think so
Asian
either.
friends.
Right. I can agree, I can agree with that too. I can agree with that too. And look, I mean, his brother's in prison, his brother's in an organization. It's not a far throw. It's not, okay? Which is why it's so strange to me that they won't, or maybe that's why they won't look at the other side to this, okay? Maybe that's why they don't want to believe the other side to this. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, but I do believe, let's go back to the beginning here. I believe that in some form or fashion, the victims in the house knew their attackers. I think they had interacted with them even as far as earlier that day, possibly, or the day before, or the weekend before, or every day before this. I have no doubt in my mind. Okay, these people were regulars over there. That was stated very clearly. If you were here for Dave's interview more than once and heard Dave say that they were very regular around this neighborhood and that everybody knew who they were, at least two of them, and they're very, very tightly associated with these organizations. So, I got to go right back with Paul. Now, like I said, the whole thing the only thing I slightly disagree with Bob on is that the perpetrators are deceased and they're no longer with us. I believe one of them is, sure. And I don't know about the others because I've not seen or heard nothing about the others. They could be too. I don't know. But for sure, one is, in my opinion, that could be involved very deeply. I'd like to know the whole story behind that. But I agree with Paul, for the most part, almost his entire theory on it. I just have a couple issues with the reasoning behind it. Was it the parents on the one side? Or was it the parents that may have provoked this? Or was it something else that provoked this? That's the only thing that I'm a little bit torn on. You know what I mean? But it in all aspect, the basics of it laid out is 100% what I believe now. It just makes perfect sense to me. And nothing else does. There's the problem. Because if this was just a boyfriend, just an upset boyfriend that was angry or jealous, it doesn't fit. Why did 3 other people die? Okay, there's no way that was just collateral damage to me. Is it possible that a couple were collateral? Sure, because they walked in on something they shouldn't have. Maybe. Okay, but I don't think it was a boyfriend. I don't think it was just an angry, upset, sad boyfriend that was not dealing with a breakup. There's more
Hunter
to
and
it.
Josie and Emily aren't going to lie to protect some boyfriend.
Exactly.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Like,
right. I think many people know why this happened, and they're petrified to talk about it. That's truly my opinion.
it's not just that they're scared to talk about it; they're actively participating in the cover up. Like I said, all of like Hunter and Emily went on a national television show. I can't remember what the exact show was called, but they did an interview
Dateline.
that was a Dateline, and they told their story and they sold the mainstream narrative.
Right.
And I mean, for those people that want to blame Dylan and say Dylan's a liar, well, if Dylan's a liar, so is Hunter, so is Emily, so is Josie, so is Lakeland, so is Lyndon, so is all of them. You know, they're all telling essentially the same story. And
Right.
if it's a lie, it's a lie.
And
You know what I mean? Like, so
I do truly agree, sir. Truly.
Where did this story originate, Jesse? Whose story is it?
I don't, Eddie, I'm not telling you I know the answer. When I come on here, I'm more concerned about telling you who's lying than what the truth. I don't know what the truth is. I've never said that I have a theory that I'm in love with. In fact, my best theory was.
I'm not asking you your theory. I think the entire chat would agree with you that they're all lying.
Yeah.
But
law enforcement is what Eddie's reaching
so
for.
if we all know, does law enforcement know?
Well,
I believe everybody knows.
They're definitely in the group that's all lying.
Are they just Mayberry over there?
No. Well, I mean, like I said, all those interviews, when Dylan tells the interviewer that she saw a gun and he just pretends he didn't hear it. I mean, clearly he's part. And if he's part of it, then the rest of the interviews are probably part of it. You know, yeah, everybody's lying. And that's where I get to is.
Hi, Candy Girl.
Pardon me?
Nothing. I said hi to Candy Girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, they're all lying. There's no question about it.
And here's the thing. And I've listened to all the theories, as we all have. And I've heard the theory. There's people that believe that it's just the fraternity, period, end of story. I can't believe that. Okay. And I've tried to put myself into that understanding. It's not enough. It's just not enough. I believe that they do know, and they're on the we have to keep our mouth shut situation too, because there was distribution done through them. I mean, that was admitted to through the Caden Young situation. Dave admitted to it. Yes, we know that there were drugs running through the fraternities and sororities. That's without a doubt. It happens all over the place. I've looked into many colleges going through the same thing. Why would they protect the fraternity, though? Just the fraternity. If it was only the fraternity, why would they be so protected? And why would it go so high? That's what I can't get with. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's the only reason why I can't go and say, yep, it was just the fraternity. First off, the motive is not, I mean, I get the motive. I understand where the motive that some people have for it. But I don't believe that they would protect a fraternity like this without something else aside it. Okay. The only thing I believe the fraternity has an involvement from is because they know who did it because of their interaction with the distribution side to it. That's my thought on that. Okay. That's why I can't grasp the fact that it was them and them alone. That's all I'm saying. I do believe they worked for the group too. If you're distributing for them, why wouldn't you do other things for them? Because now that's being held over your head. So that's just, again, these are my opinions, by the way, you guys. I don't know absolute. None of us do. This is just the thought process that I have. I've tried to think about it other ways. And every time I look at it from a different situation, I come right back to this. Every time. I've tried to go with the whole disgruntled boyfriend that's upset, this, that, and everything else. That makes no sense. Why would they protect him? He's nobody. Okay? He's nobody of importance. They're not, the whole Jack Showalter thing. Again, it doesn't make sense. It has to be something bigger. And then at that point, this is where you come back. And I do fully believe law enforcement has the involvement that they have. And that's why I believe it. Because if they don't have that, they wouldn't know. But they do know. The leading questions tell their own story. Okay, like Jesse pointed out. They answer the questions for the people they ask the questions to. It's stupid. How many of these interviews have we watched where they tell them the answer as they're asking the question? It's ridiculous. So they obviously know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it was
I can't
Lana.
tell you who did it, but I can tell you who's lying. And
there's a lot of them.
But one of my theories was, though, that the reason that, you know, we all wonder, where did Kohberger come from? How did they come up with Kohberger?
Sure, yeah, that's
and
a big
one. One of my theories was just based on what's going on in the media right now. They have the Palantir software, that predictive policing, and it makes sense to me that if they used something like that, some kind of predictive policing AI type thing to come. You type into, and when you look at it, everybody's using AI these days. They're telling you, oh, I just type this into AI, and they talk to you as if it's gospel, like it's the truth. I typed this into AI. This is what AI told me,
Right.
and they look at you like you should just accept that, like it's a fact now because that's what you got from AI. And I think that's the way they're treating the police force, the government is treating AI. They truly do want to come up with a AI software where you just type in, this person was murdered, this is where it happened, these are the details, and
What's up, Lana?
and yeah, who did it? And so AI pulls out a name, and you go attack that guy. You reverse engineer a case around him, and technically they're not allowed to use this yet, right? Like it's not on the books. Like as far as Congress approval and everything else, you're just not allowed to type into AI who did it,
Right.
and use Palantir's. But it's coming. It's coming, right? What will stop it? What will stop it from coming is if it fucks up. So if the FBI use this before it's approved and it comes up with Kohberger's name and it fucked up and it got it wrong, that would provide motivation for them to start covering shit up, right? Like start really, this is the kind of thing that would make other law tubers be quiet if they were in the know, like, hey,
sure.
You know what I mean? Rather than the area, like the FBI trying to protect their tool to solve crimes for the rest of humanity with the AI is a lot more powerful than the Aryan Knights, in my opinion.
It could be. But again, don't forget who's involved with them. It's not just street criminals and prison criminals. There's important people there. I'm just saying, like, who knows who's involved? Nobody does for sure.
I do want to point out, Steve G in an interview did say they're using new technology. I can't say much about it. But you'll find out. This, he made reference to some kind of new technology that they were going to use. That was like revolutionary. They can catch anybody. He didn't elaborate, but what I ask everybody, what was he referring to?
Right. That's a good point. That's a good question. Very good question. I agree. Hold on, I'm trying to check for something here. There was something I was going to say and completely lost my train of thought. By the way, welcome, Lana. Good to see you. Another point she brought into onto the table too, which she referred to a specific police officer. I think it was Chris Whitman that had taken time off of work. I mean, that's just one more point, you guys, that points at, corrupted law enforcement officers. Why there's so much lying going on, okay? You give me a good reason why all of these people are lying about this so deeply, besides what we've talked about, and I'll listen to it. But there is nothing that fits that bracket, in my opinion. There's nothing that fits into that scenario. It just doesn't make any sense.
Are you of the mindset, like, so he's within that network, law enforcement, there's connections there. They all know one another. It's not that separated by distance.
They all work together. Yeah. Right.
But he's not part of that town, Moscow.
Right. Right. Well, you don't have to be.
That would be the one you'd want to source.
Good point.
Because he's disconnected from the homicides.
Curtis. Yeah.
The evening of the homicide. So
yes.
Yeah. I see where your
that's yeah, and that's, thank you to Lana for pointing that out too. And again, there's so many people that have been proven to be liars for many, many things. He's one. Curtis, not Chris. I said Chris. I was thinking of Chris Whitcomb and Curtis. Sorry about that. His name is Curtis Whit. Thanks you, Jippa. Curtis Whitman. And then, okay, also, it's been proven now that many, many other people have lied through multiple things. Molly McMichaels, she's lied about many, many things. The prosecution team has lied about many, many things. I went through the list the other day of things that were not handed over to the defense by the prosecution. Things that were handed over half-assed. Missing video. What the fuck? There's files taken and missing from Kaylee Gonsalvez's University of Idaho file. There's paperwork missing from that. For what? What are you hiding? What are you lying about? Okay? Things like that. Like, there's so much of this that has been lied about. Okay? There's not even a just a little. It's so bad and it's so much. There's no other option, in my opinion. Okay, these aren't mistakes. If these are mistakes, then you better shut down the whole fucking government because they're all fucking stupid. That's the only way this is possible. And we all know they're not. Okay, that's the difference. We all know that they're not. We all know that they know what they're doing or they wouldn't be in the positions that they're in. Okay? It's just all bullshit. There's lies. I'm sorry, but nobody in this room, nobody on this platform can make me believe that they never got into Kaylee's phone. With the agencies that they had that were involved, you show me how they never got into that phone. I don't believe it. I guarantee you they did. And I promise you that once again was withheld from us because of the information in her phone. Because it points to something we're not supposed to know. No, it's bullshit. It's all jokes. Okay? It's all jokes. All right, Jesse, no problem. Thank you for joining us. Oh, no, I think they did get into her phone. You had the Secret Service, the FBI, Homeland Security. Who else was involved in this? I mean, multiple three-letter agencies are involved, and you're going to tell me not one of them can break open a phone? And I promise you that Apple is not going to fight those agencies. They absolutely will comply to them. Okay? So, which tells me they got into her phone, folks. We know they got into her phone, okay? But they just never handed that information over. At some point, the document we have, Ann Taylor's still asking for, let me know what's going on with Kaylee's phone. Nothing. It's a joke. People aren't stupid, you guys. We're not stupid people. Now, if it would have been a local MPD, an ISP trying to get in the phone, I could see, sure. Maybe they're still struggling. Maybe they're still fighting. They're not getting into it. Bullshit. We had FBI, Secret Service, Homeland Security. There's no damn way they didn't break into that girl's phone. No way in hell. I don't believe it. And I want to know why they're withholding that information. What does that information, because I guarantee you, like I said, I guarantee you they got into her phone. That information is obviously very touchy information, which is why it's once again being withheld like everything else has. Because there's something within that information, in my opinion, that's going to show us truth. We can't have that because it'll incriminate somebody or something. Okay? That's why I believe the problem is. So that's why I struggle coming to a be-all, end-all as to I believe in who I believe is involved in this, but the reason is where I struggle with it because of things like that with Kaylee and her phone and missing files from her university folder, things like that don't make much sense, things that were hidden, documents handed over with blank spaces on them, completely missing video, audio, visual files. I know for a fact there's 3 cameras over there that probably had video on them that they've never showed. And multiple people have claimed that there is more video out there. No, you can't make me believe it. I'm sorry. And I won't. So that's the biggest issue with me with all that. And that's why I said, did the victims know their attackers? I fully believe they did. I think they've interacted with them multiple times. And who was there that night? Did somebody follow? We never got a timeline for Xana and Ethan. Ever. I think that's another bit of bullshit that was purposely withheld. Because, Eddie, I'm going to ask you this because I know what your answer is going to be. Do you think, Eddie, that law enforcement does not know what time Ethan and Xana came home?
They know exactly when they got home.
Exactly. But why don't we know? We know when everybody else got home, except for
'Cause-
those two. There's a reason.
Because they were there, and they probably were the first two to go.
Okay, there you go. There you go. So once again, if you think about, we were talking about Pop's theory and all that, who Xana's mother was, let's think about a target, okay? And again, two things can be right at the same time, folks. There could be more than one target for more than one reason within the same situation, is all I'm saying. That is exactly, in my opinion, why we don't have a timeline for them.
We've always been conditioned that this thing happened. It has to happen all at once, right?
Right.
There's like
That's
boom,
right.
boom, 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 4. But
Absolutely.
that's the only way it works with your one-off single perpetrator narrative. But there was multiple people, and it's still going to be a challenge to control 4. The
Right,
reason that you're hiding the timeline of Ethan and Xana is because it doesn't go along with what they propose, what happened in the timeline.
The narrative, right.
But it would make sense if those two were dispatched first, maybe the door was shut, and then Maddie and Kaylee would have been unaware, right?
Absolutely.
So that explains how they were able to go about, and turn in for the night, so to speak, and so that would explain why, the last thing we ever hear about Kaylee, according to our only surviving witness, that witnessed it from the second floor, is that Kaylee ran downstairs screaming, "Someone's here." And that's the last we ever hear of Kaylee, but there is no other mention of noises or activity.
No, by anybody else. Right. And that would fully explain that whole situation right there. If those two were dispatched first, okay, the door's shut, they're in there, there's no noise, and that person is upstairs hiding, waiting. Kaylee goes upstairs, or those persons are upstairs hiding and waiting. Kaylee goes upstairs, and boom, there's somebody here, runs down the stairs and gets grabbed. That's not hard to believe by any means. There was also a spare bedroom downstairs that somebody could have hid in and came up the stairs at a certain point. We know all this. Okay, this is all right in there in our faces, guys. It absolutely makes perfect sense to me. It didn't have to happen there, and I don't believe that it happened at 4 a.m. that 4 people were murdered all at one time. I don't believe that. I never have. Okay, it can, things can be separated by minutes, 20 minutes, 15, 20, half hour, an hour even. The whole thing could be broken up into those segments, guys, and it all went down that way. I have no doubt. And that absolutely is a possible thing. And it has been for me for a long time. We don't know. We were given certain narratives to follow, and we did. And I think it was just an automatic thing that people thought, okay, these 4 were murdered at 4 a.m. So your mind tells you they all got killed at the same time. Okay? So, I truly believe that that's the absolute probability that makes this make the most sense. G Bean says, wait, I have a serious but dumb question. No question is dumb. The only question that's dumb is the one you don't ask, dear. So go for it. Ask away.
And Diego, while we're waiting for the question.
Yes, sir.
The trouble is that none of us will ever really truly know, because the state is manipulating the truth. They're hiding what the real truth is and substituting in for it this false presentation of what happened. So everybody's going to run around with theories, but no one will have the facts.
Right. That's a fact. That is a fact, Eddie. And to answer G Bean's question, when you go to a murder, working it, You don't have to determine a time of death, or is that not? No. It is a thing. And I'm telling you exactly why I believe it was done the way it was. It goes right back to what I was just talking about. The time of death was listed as noon, okay, by Kathy Mabbitt, who lied. She lied about more than one thing because I believe she was told to, okay? We don't know the time of death, and I think that's for a reason. Because if we don't know the time of death, we don't know the actual timeline. So if Mabbitt would have came in and said and done a liver temperature test or something else that you do to determine time of death, stomach contents, all those things that have not been released to us for a reason, because we're not going to know then the timeline and or the time. If we know the time of death, we know the true timeline. That's not something they want us to have. Okay. So if she would have done the right thing and did the testing that you do to determine the time of death and told us, 2:36 a.m. or 2:40 a.m. or something like that, guess what, folks? Then we have the ability then to turn around and work with that time to figure out the actual timeline. They won't give that to us. They're never going to give that to us. Hence the reason why Kathy was told, give them this. It's noon. End of story. They've never touched it again. We don't have stomach contents on any of the victims. There's a reason for that as well. We don't have anything else to help us to provide us with a true timeline or time of death. And that is why I believe. And you're welcome, dear. I don't know, Eddie, do you have anything to add to that or any issues with that?
To that, no, but while I was sitting here listening, I did reflect on other conversations about the posing of the bodies.
Right.
Is any of that confirmed, or is that just rumor?
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, where did that come from? That's been a recent.
That's what I'm
thing
trying to
as of
remember.
late.
It came in a document somewhere. I can't remember where the posing and the staging came from. I can't remember which document it was.
Yeah, it's book conjecture.
There was some of it in the book too. Yeah, that's true.
I guess I'll be more specific and talk about this. I hear and see people in chat talking about this princess pose, right?
Right. That was in the book.
That's what I'm talking about specifically. So people are running with that as though it's truth. Can't do that. We can't run with that, right?
We need to see if it matches anything in any of the documents. There's the problem. If it all came from the book, which is that, I swear to God, there was a document that they talked about staging before the book came. But the book does talk about the staging. So, until it shows up in a document, no, it's not absolute positively true. So at that point, we need to try to find it in documents. But I don't think we're going to, because it was something we weren't told in the beginning, nor through anything else. So if it's only coming from the book, and based on the knowledge that I've been given, is that those statements that come from the book come from documents that we have yet to see.
Well,
take it one way or the other. That's what we were told. Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see the documents. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give it that much credibility, or phrase it like that, because it is just hearsay.
Yeah,
from how this entire thing has been presented to the public thus far, that just seems like more of the same. That's like red flag, this pattern of disseminating information to us.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, it's happened to us 99 times. For us to fall for it, for the 100th time and never be learning our lesson, I mean, shame on us.
Right. No, I got you. Yeah, like I said, I read the book twice, and there's some things in the book that, we can prove, sure. The problem is, I don't like to not see things in documents. That's my biggest thing. When I see the finality of it written in a document put out by the state and or who, that kind of solidifies things more for me. Even though I don't even trust the documents fully, you guys, I don't. I'm just saying I don't. I don't trust most anything from this case at all. Only because things change so often that the people putting the documents out are the people that are in question at times. So you have to question everything, even when we do see it. But that is our best solid. And we don't have a choice. Okay, I'll put it that way. That's the only real solid thing we have here is when they drop something into a document and put it out.
Sorry,
And
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but even when it comes to documents, we've seen time and again that
yeah,
those can't entirely be trusted either.
that's what I'm saying. I don't even trust some of the documents, you guys, because of who's putting them out. So what do we trust? That's what I'm saying. It's hard. It's very hard. But the documents are the only thing that we have that are even remotely solid. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But like he said, I don't even trust those sometimes because I don't trust the people that are producing them. So how can you do that? You know what I mean? It's very difficult, and it's a struggle, guys. It sucks. I just want damn truth. Just tell the fucking truth, and I'll be all right. But that's never going to happen. Unfortunately, it's never going to happen.
I have a quick question. I'm kind of here one day and gone the next.
Yeah.
So I'm not aware if you've followed or have kind of recapped Pavarotti's video about the reason why there's been a separation or a divorce, so to speak, between the defense team, Ann Taylor and Turvey.
I haven't talked about any more of that.
There's a video that Pavarotti has put out that kind of, his theory explaining why.
Oh, okay. Well, we got plenty of time because I went through what I was doing pretty quick today.
I'm not sure if it's a long video or not, but I thought that was interesting.
Let me look real quick. 1 minute. I was actually looking at a couple things earlier, but I usually try to cover his stuff when I have time, but I've been slam busy with the warm weather, getting everything set for the summer and all that stuff. So I haven't really had much time inside.
I'm not sure what its title is or how many days ago it's been.
I'm looking right now. That's for tonight. That one's from yesterday.
We could do it a different day too. We might need more time to.
You don't even know what it was about?
I don't know. I don't even know what the thumbnail looks like. Maybe it would even have,
smoking gun
picture on it.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a second here. Yeah.
I don't know. Guesstimating most far back it could have been is 4 days, 5 days ago at most.
Oh, Jesse said. Where'd it go? Hey, Scully. He actually mentioned Jesse in the video by name. Okay.
Because it explains a lot. If
no, I don't
want to spoiler here, but I don't think this will give away too much. But it's almost like between the two crime scene experts of the defense, Turvey and the other, I forget his name. Sorry. Turvey definitely knew that there was multiple perpetrators, and the other expert was of the opinion that there was one perpetrator.
Right.
And automatically, our reaction to that would be, the one guy knows his stuff, and the other guy, not so much. Right.
Hello, welcome back, Tomboy. Yeah, I agree with you, Ed. Do you know which video he's talking about, Tomboy? I know you probably know all of Paul's vids, so.
No, thank you. I didn't catch what Eddie was talking about.
He explains the whole disconnect between Turvey and Taylor, and it's a Pavarotti video.
It's like a week ago.
Okay,
maybe 10 days.
You know the title?
Eddie, in your heart, do you truly think it's only one person? I've never thought it's one person. I've always said it was multiple people.
I never have either. I never believed it could be. Do you know the title of it or something in the title of it, Tomboy? Oh, I mean, I know his name, but like the title of the actual video. This way
Sean's
to
looking
Idaho.
right now.
Revealing 4 days. That's 10 days ago. Help figure
days
out
ago?
what to
Okay.
do.
Wow.
Let me see.
And Dago, I was just like picking your brain, like if you had seen the video,
No, but I
was
want
hoping for
to.
a reaction of yours, like, yeah, I remember watching it, so I could
didn't
continue
see.
on just discussing. I wasn't meaning to
That's all
derail.
right. That's all right. Well, here's the thing: is I don't get to watch all of his stuff. Sometimes I have to go back. Like I still watch videos from like a month, 2 months ago that I missed because I get wrapped up in other stuff.
I never finished my thought. What I was saying about
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can understand G Bean's confusion. Yeah, because I really didn't get a chance to finish that thought. So I think in this video of Pavarotti's, and that's what I wanted to get to, is okay, so there Ann Taylor is. She has one crime scene expert that believes multiple perps. That's Turvey. And Nodell, his opinion. What did I say?
I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me see.
I heard Tomboy. Oh, I thought I misspoke.
She's talking to somebody she's in the vehicle with.
Okay.
They're looking for the video.
I thought
that's all.
Okay, never
You're
mind.
good.
I'm
Sorry.
just hearing voices in my speaker. Okay. So, and then Ann Taylor's other expert, Nodal, he's thinking one perpetrator. That's his, expert opinion. So, this might get confusing, but stay with me. Dago, you always remember me saying about this phone interview with MPD, right?
Yes.
And we know that it must have happened, but the state is not going to give that up. And they say, oh, that phone interview with Detective Payne with the MPD, that was actually a phone interview with FBI agent.
Right.
So and he states that he didn't record it. So in other words, it exists, but they're not turning Payne's phone interview over to the defense.
Right.
So Ann would be foolish to even pursue that line in the courtroom and present that information to the jury because she'd look crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be like, so obviously the prosecution would say, well, where's that exhibit? Please enlighten us all. Why don't you? It would be just she said, he said. She'd look ridiculous, even though she's in the right. That's just how that goes in the courtroom. So same thing with this one perpetrator, which is, by the way, everybody listening, that is the state's case. Keep that in mind.
1 second, Eddie. I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to ask. It says proof that they know it was multiple perpetrators. Is that the video?
It could be.
It's from 5 days ago, and it kind of relates to what you're talking about.
It could be. Yeah, I don't have it memorized as far as what the thumbnail says. Or
I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going with your thought.
Yeah, I was rolling. Okay, so everybody keep in mind, that's the state's case, single perpetrator. That's important because here it comes. She would just like claiming that there's a phone interview with Detective Payne, by golly, stomping her feet. There really is. She'd look ridiculous. So her job is to make a case and figure out the best way to defend her client, not to solve a mystery. So is she better off to make this case saying that there's multiple perpetrators, or is she better off by rolling with what the state is saying and say, because of all this evidence, this forensic evidence in the crime scene, that stating that it is a single perpetrator crime, and therefore that is what proves that Bryan Kohberger is not that perpetrator. It's just choosing how you're going to make your argument, right? Because if you
makes
go
total
with
sense.
if you go against the state and say it's multiple perp, she may look ridiculous, and it might be a more challenging argument to make.
Very good point. I found it, Eddie.
Okay.
He's come out the last couple of days too, with him going over the forensic documents on the blood underneath the nails and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It's enlightening.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and this one isn't that long either. So thank you, Jibba 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 Jibba. I did find it. And good, because I'm interested. It was
I know you're
4 days ago. Pavretti dropped it. It's called Another Mystery Solved, for those of you that are interested. I'm gonna go ahead and run it. And anybody that has not yet done it, I'd be really shocked if you haven't subscribed to Mr. Embry himself, Pavarotti. I'm going to give you the link. Again, him and Lana are the two hardest working true crime YouTubers out here, folks. I've said that. I don't always agree with Pav, always, but lately, 9 out of 10 times, yeah, I do. He makes so much sense. Him and Lana work so fucking hard, you guys. They deserve absolute, in my opinion, credit for everything they put out there. So please make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and hit the like over there. Let them know that I sent you over to show some support because of the work they put in. Please and thank you.
Things in the affidavit that were affidavits at that point that could explain that, including the use of covering clothing and covering gloves and all that could be put into a bag real quick on the way out. Well, I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because you brought up blood DNA of an unknown individual that was found, I think, on the handrail.
Yes.
Doesn't that necessarily not exclude Mr. Kohberger? What it may do is suggest there might be a potential other person in addition involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Listen to Pavarotti.
To discuss the Idaho 4 case. And across this long process of digging into all the details in this case, we have got a lot of things right. We've got some things wrong along the way. Well, it's very clear to me now that the hearing on January 23rd for the Frank's motion and the motions to suppress, there was a couple of things in that hearing that I put in the opening of this video that was very, very strange, that really piqued a lot of our attention. And it certainly piqued mine, and it made me really come to some conclusions that were the wrong conclusions. And what I like to do is, along the way, as more information makes itself available to us, is anytime I've got something wrong, I like to go in and correct it. A lot of people say, "Oh, Bob he never says he gets anything wrong." No, that's totally untrue. I get things wrong all the time. And when I get enough information to correct my wrongs, I always correct them, because now I got a pretty good idea of what we were witnessing in that hearing. And it also lets me in on where the possible divorce of the defense team from the expert.
Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm running to grab some coffee real quick. I can hear this in the background, so I'm going to let it play, grab my coffee, and I'll be back in a matter of like 3 seconds. So,
witness Brent Turvey actually took place, and it's kind of plain as day to me now. And when I say the divorce took place because of the issues that came up in this particular hearing, I'm not necessarily saying that it was a rightful divorce, because in my humble opinion, as we really get into the expert opinions of Brent Turvey and Matthew Nodal and Paulette Sutton, I believe I'm going to disagree, even though I haven't seen the entire opinions of anybody yet in this case. We've only seen rebuttals, but I believe I'm going to disagree with all three of them vehemently. But I can understand from a strategy standpoint why the defense would want to divorce themselves from the opinion of Brent Turvey, because it went totally against the opinions of Nodal and Sutton. Even though Nodal's opinion is going to be completely different than Sutton's and Turvey's in different ways. But I'm going to try to make all that sounds very confusing, plain as day in this video, as I go through and explain what it is that we looked at that time and what the truth of the matter truly is, and why disagreements would have come up. And you can clearly see it in the hearing in the face of Ann Taylor when the judge brings up certain things, how it threw everything completely off for them. So what I'm going to do in this one is I want to break down those particular instances in that original hearing where my determinations of what they were talking about were incorrect now that we have more information, and what the strategy of the defense was, why it was blown up, and why they would have wanted to move away from Turvey and his determinations, even though I think Turvey's determinations are probably closer to the truth in a lot of ways than the defense expert, Matthew Nodal. I know all that sounds clear as mud. Let's see if I can make it unclear. Let's see if I can make it a little bit more clear as we go through this. Hold on to your hats, folks. This is getting interesting. So here's what I now know. Prior to the January 23rd, 2025 hearing on Franks and the motions to suppress, the defense filed motions for that hearing and submitted their expert opinions in the motion to back up their claims, and the state filed their response that included their expert opinions. In those opinions were the expert opinions of Brent Turvey, Matthew Nodal, and Paulette Sutton. Matthew Nodal and Brent Turvey being the defense experts, Pauline Sutton being the state's experts. And here's how this played out. And I'm going to show you in this why Ann Taylor, where the animosity probably started between her and Turvey, and why she was moving away from Turvey going forward. And just so I can make it known, I disagree with what all three of these state experts actually came to, but that's here and there. Because during that hearing, there was a couple of things that I focused on back in the day that I thought was telling us a tale. And I now know that I was wrong. And one of those things was when the judge clearly cited an affidavit that stated that somebody had likely taken their clothes off, the assailant involved had taken their clothes off and put it in a trash bag. I assumed that the judge was citing early affidavits from Bethany, that maybe Bethany had seen somebody naked, because we all heard those stories, putting their clothes in a trash bag and run out the door. And I thought that made the most sense. But now I know that I was wrong on that. And here is the actual part of the hearing where he discusses that.
Would cause any magistrate to say, well, okay, I guess there's no probable cause here because you couldn't find other connection to forensic evidence, when there are other things in the affidavit that were affidavits at that point that could explain that, including the use of covering clothing and covering gloves and all that could be put into a bag real quick on the way out that was in one of the affidavits.
Then again, because he kept citing that was in one of the affidavits, I unwittingly assumed that he might be talking about Bethany Funk because we had heard that Bethany Funk maybe had seen a naked person. But now I know what the judge is referring to when he says was in one of the affidavits, maybe somebody taking their covering clothes off and putting it in a trash bag before they left. He was talking about the affidavit of Paulette Sutton and her expert report, because her expert report absolutely suggested that the assailant was running around naked and put his clothes in a trash bag before he left. So I was wrong on that. And now I have a clear understanding of what this judge was citing in a lot of his arguments when he's arguing with Ann Taylor. The first one being the affidavit of Paulette Sutton saying the suspect took his clothes off, probably put it in a trash bag before he left, which brings me to my next point. Paulette Sutton's entire theory focused on a sole perpetrator. She used examples of him taking his clothes off, putting it in a trash bag. She attached to her expert report the article on evidence of absence is not absence of evidence. And I believe her entire interpretation is ridiculous. But when I look at what the defense was trying to do in the Franks suppression hearing, now it makes total sense why, even though I believe this is the wrong defense strategy, because this isn't the truth of what happened, in my opinion, I can understand the defense's strategy at this point. Because if a state expert is basing everything off of a sole perpetrator, then you have her expert, Matthew Nodal. And this is just my opinion because we haven't seen Matthew Nodal's report, but here's what I suspect from everything that I've researched. Based on everything I've seen, the report that Matthew Nodal submitted is likely a report that, although that differs in many ways from both the Turvey and Sutton reports, but I believe Matthew Nodal's report is going to determine that one perpetrator is responsible for the act. Now, I obviously disagree with that wholeheartedly, but I can understand the defense strategy. If Nodal bases everything off one perpetrator, the prosecution expert bases everything on one perpetrator, then it makes sense what the arguments were in the Frank suppression motion. The obvious defense strategy was the defense argued in the suppression motion that based on the reports of these two experts, that the perpetrator is that one perpetrator committed the crime, and the evidence of that perp is unknown male B and D. Therefore, it could not be Bryan Kohberger. This was absolutely their argument in the hearing.
It seems to me that it's an uphill battle to say there's not probable cause at that point.
Well, Your Honor should never get to that question, but I'm going to answer it for you. But you should never get to that question because you should have already found that AT&T 1 and AT&T 2 were terrible, and there's no probable cause for those, and they just build on each other. So you should find that the very first one lacks probable cause, and then everything else does as well. But let me answer your question there. If the magistrate judge had been told there's unknown male B in blood in the house attached to the handrail, that might have made more of a difference to her. Maybe a sheath that can be carried to the house and blood in the house that's not the same, maybe that matters. And then maybe the car being completely empty of any blood DNA connection, maybe that matters a little bit more. Maybe it.
Well, I'm just not sure why it matters for probable cause, but I think we're talking over each other, so I'll let you just go on.
I have to just say real quick, I can't stand him and his stupidity. I'm talking about Hitler here, mind you. Okay. So sorry to interrupt.
Well, I have a statement about that comment. He shouldn't have been talking over her, period.
He shouldn't have said anything about any of that because that statement he just made is completely out of touch for what he's doing as a judge. So yeah, I agree.
He is the keeper of the law, not finder of facts.
Thank you. He never should have spoke on that, and he's done it multiple times. Hence, again, why this needs to be looked at by the DOJ, which was in my letter that they ignored. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay. I don't think probable cause is in a vacuum. I think probable cause isn't one thing. I hope it's not one thing. I hope there has to be a little bit more than one thing, especially when you've got another thing that's the same as the one thing.
Well, I said I wouldn't do it, so I'm going to do it anyway, because you brought up blood DNA of an unknown individual that was found, I think, on the handrail.
Yes.
Doesn't that necessarily not exclude Mr. Kohberger? What it may do is suggest there might be a potential other person in addition involved if you assume that that blood was related to the victims and not some earlier event in the house.
And I'm going to clear that right now, okay? Before anybody, because we talked about this yesterday, that blood was tested and it was nowhere near degraded enough to be anything less than coming from that crime scene from that time. Understand that, okay? And he knows that, but he's playing the prosecution side of this right now, and this is what he does. I'm sorry, again, for interrupting.
Sometimes lately, I think that I think Hitler was not privy to the fuckery that the state was doing and the PD was doing and everything. I think he was strictly going by documents.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll give him that much, but I get it. I get it. But here's the thing, folks. You have to know by looking at the testing done on the blood. Ask the question. How degraded was it? If it was degraded, then sure, it could have came from 6 months ago, but it wasn't. It was obvious that it wasn't, and it was part of that crime scene.
It was never stated in documents that it was degraded.
But he should have looked into it then. That's what he should have done as a judge, to understand, instead of speaking out of turn and protecting the prosecution and not the defense as he was supposed to. That's his job, is to protect the defendant and make sure he gets a fair trial. He did not do that at all. So
nope,
that's the point I'm making.
If what the court is saying is exactly why the magistrate needed to know that. Is there another explanation here? I've got this sheath, but there.
So real quick, because I know there's a lot of people that came into this late. I want you to understand something. The magistrate, the grand jury, all this shit was withheld from all of them, okay? In the very beginning, folks, it was withheld from all of them. In turn, the indictment proceeded because of those things. They didn't know. Okay, if they had known, Ann's point that she's making is if they had known this would have never happened. So understand that for those of you that came later.
Or all these other things that if I know about them matter. What's the other explanation? What's going on with this investigation? What's happening here? That's exactly the point, Your Honor. What other explanation is there?
Now, at the time of this hearing, I did not know about the expert report from Brent Turby, because in his expert report, he submits a report claiming that 2 perpetrators were necessary to commit the crime. So when the judge brings up the fact that there is reports that more than one person could have been involved in this crime and rebuts Ann Taylor's argument about the samples of blood from unknown male B and D simply being maybe somebody helped Kohberger, or maybe Kohberger had or helped somebody else, it absolutely froze Ann Taylor, because she knew where the judge was citing this particular argument against her. And you can see by her reaction, this is the exact point in this where she goes, dang, Turby has really messed us up. Watch.
Exclude Mr. Kohberger. What it may do is suggest there might be a potential other person in addition involved if you assume that that blood was related to the victims and not some earlier event in the house.
If
The judge is the only one that said that blood may have been from something previous.
I'm sorry?
The judge is the only one that said that blood may have been from something previous.
Right. And why did he say that?
I don't know.
He had no reason to bring that forth. Okay, none.
No, because
Here's
it's
another
never
point.
been in the document.
Right. That's exactly my point. Here's another point
That's
real
his
quick
opinion.
with this. Understand something, you guys. Please understand something. Judge Hippler had no right to make that statement. None. That's not his job as a judge. He should have never brought forth with any of that kind of comment. He should have just let her go with what she was doing in turn. And if you don't see that as him playing the other side, I'm sorry. That's all I can see it as. I'm just telling you.
Is there another explanation here?
And don't forget something. This goes, with what he just said, would kill the entire prosecution's case. Understand that. That statement he just made completely and totally floors and blows the prosecution's case as a one perpetrator situation. They never brought into effect that there was anybody besides Bryan Kohberger involved in this. Never. Ever. And it would have shut it down. Look at Bill over there turning purple already.
Got this sheath, but there are all these other things that if I know about him, matter. What's the other explanation? What's going on with this investigation? What's happening here? That's exactly the point, Your Honor. What other explanation is there?
Now, again, I'm not saying that the defense strategy is correct at this point, but I think it's pretty clear to me now.
What?
I have to go in the grocery store. I'll catch you when I get home.
Okay.
Why the Turby report just annihilated the argument in the Franks hearing, because other evidence of another perpetrator would eliminate Kohberger from being the perpetrator if it's a one perpetrator crime. But the second the defense expert claimed that there was more than one perpetrator, it gave the judge the ability to just overrule the argument altogether based on an expert opinion. So let me be clear.
Bingo.
It's my opinion that all 3 of these experts are incorrect based on my interpretation of all the evidence of the crime. The Povman's report, who, by the way, no one cares about, so nobody cares about my report, but my report concludes that 4 perpetrators are necessary to carry out the crime in the time frame estimated based on all the physical evidence and the witness statements. You see, everybody else, and I mean everybody else, the state, law enforcement, apparently the defense experts, the state experts, the defense themselves, the state prosecutor, everybody wants to just say the witness statements are false. I mean, we see that in the probable cause affidavit when they change Dylan's entire statement to Kaylee being in the living room playing with Murphy to Kaylee being upstairs playing with Murphy and dancing. I mean, they change it all together. The defense in trial says that Dylan has to be lying because what she's stating couldn't possibly have happened because Kaylee and Maddie never left their room. So I am in everybody on YouTube. So Dylan's a liar. Dylan's a liar. Can't believe her statements. I am the only person that absolutely believes Dylan and Bethany's statements when they say Kaylee was in the living room playing with Murphy. She runs upstairs, says someone's here, runs back downstairs, and then nobody hears her again. I absolutely believe that is true because there is all kinds of evidence that is true with Kaylee's blood in the living room. What nobody else wants to try to wrap their mind around is how did Kaylee get back up in the room with Maddie before the attack actually continues and finishes. But I'm the only one that believes that because I believe the evidence proves that statement. And it's very clear to me. It's very unclear to everybody else. They'd rather just say, well, Dylan is lying or Dylan was drunk and she mixed up Kaylee with Xana. And then they go as far as to say, well, and even later on, Dylan admits that who she heard could have been Xana. And that is not true in any sense. Dylan is very, very clear that who she heard in the living room was Kaylee. Who she heard run up and down the stairs yelling someone's here is Kaylee. The only part that Dylan conceded was that she may have been wrong about who was crying in the bathroom. She thought it was Kaylee, but it could have been Xana. She never says she was wrong about it being Kaylee in the living room playing with Murphy, running up and down the stairs screaming someone's here. And you can go back and listen to that as many times as you want, and you're not going to come to any other determination if you listen with an open mind. So I think that's where everybody in the case gets this thing wrong, and I get it right, but that's just my opinion. And again, nobody cares about my opinion. But the obvious defense strategy at this point was the expert reports of Nodal and Sutton. They argued in the suppression motion based on the reports of these two experts that one perpetrator committed the crime and the evidence that the perp is unknown male B and D, therefore it could not be Bryan K, was upended by the Turvey report suggesting more than one perpetrator that gave the judge the ability to cite that report and overcome the argument. The expert report for Turvey claiming there was two perpetrators that was necessary to commit the crime upended the entire strategy of the defense in that hearing. And that is why I believe that they moved away from Turvey after that. So while I'm not saying that I agree in any way with Matthew Nodal, Paulette Sutton, or Brent Turvey for that matter, I am saying that the defense at the time had a clear strategy. And because they got expert reports from different experts that were contradicting, their strategy imploded on them in that hearing. What does that mean for today? I don't know. Because again, I don't agree with any of their determinations of the things around this crime. And I will reaffirm why I've come to the conclusions that I've come to and why it's different than everybody else's in this case and what everybody else has to ignore to come to their determinations that I refuse to ignore because I believe the truth matters. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Pavarotti's out.
And there it is. It's a good video. And it's an interesting point. Of course, we don't know for a fact if that's the answer to it, but it does make sense. And again, that whole thing, oh my God, what a mess. What an absolute mess. I don't get it. Here, let me give that back. I think, yeah, okay, there he is. All right. I kind of felt you were going to
What did I miss?
Oh, nothing. I just said there it is. And it's a very interesting video. And it does make an interesting point. And of course, we don't know for sure, if that's the reasoning behind it, but it does make a lot of sense as to how it could be the reason. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. And I think everyone knows Pav is being silly when he's saying that no one believes me.
Yeah, of course,
about Kaylee being, downstairs. How does she get back upstairs? He's not the only one that believes that.
No.
Of course. But yeah, it's an interesting theory about what may have caused the separation. Between and going with Turvey's opinion, because even when it comes to these experts, keep in mind, they don't even know the truth. When the state is the one manipulating what the truth is. For example, what if there was really 4 sets of footprints that an expert would be able to identify if the crime scene was, in a right side up world.
Yeah.
In a real world case. So when all that has been taken away from anybody going into that crime scene and investigating it afterwards, nobody's going to know the truth. So these experts have varying opinions. So I think, like Chief said, Chief in the chat here commenting and kind of like summarizing what I was saying before we played that video, Anne might just be playing the cards that she's been dealt.
And that's what I've thought, up until hearing this. This is an interesting side to look at, and it would make some sense. Because there was also another expert that was being used for the same thing Turby was, that put in a final report, and it seems as though they went with that expert over Turby. So it makes you wonder why. Okay, it makes you wonder why. So that could be the explanation, or it could be something completely different, folks. But it is a definite point, and it's definitely something to think on. I truly agree with that, without a doubt. So,
yeah, and after listening to that video and like mulling it over and considering it and trying to understand it entirely, I've added the part where maybe Anne is playing the cards she's been dealt. Since it really doesn't matter, I mean, although she probably does believe it's a multiple perpetrator crime, what is the point of taking that part of her argument and forcing it down the jury's throat when it's the state's opinion that it's a single perpetrator crime? Why not just run with it that way? And that might be the easiest way to prove that it wasn't Bryan Kohberger, her client.
Right.
Make the best of what you got. And she can't go wrong doing it that way. It might be an uphill battle trying to do it the other way, saying, no, there's 4 people that did this. I mean, that could backfire easily. I could see.
I can agree. I still am. Kim from Typically Unique, she FOIA'd Dr. Turby's report. I want to see Noto's report as the other one too. I want to see his report, both of their reports, so on and so forth. And I want to see, what the finality of it is, and could that have caused a problem? And then that hearing there absolutely is a problem, in my opinion. I can agree, because there again, it screws the whole situation up. I agree with that. So, absolutely. Very good point. And good, I hadn't seen that, so I'm glad I did now. I try to watch everything he puts out. Again, like I said, guys, I don't always agree with every single thing Paul puts out, but 9 out of 10 times I'm going to. And the way he does it, you don't have to. He doesn't care, but he's making good points and he's putting in work. That's all I'm saying. So I do appreciate him and I respect it 100%. So that being said, one second. Sorry about that. My son just walked in here. Has anybody really seen the bodies except for when they took them out of the house in the bags we did, Rob? When they removed them, yes, on the body cam. Welcome, Dig the Past. You got no response. See, that's what they do. That's what they do. They don't want us to have something. They just ignore us, of course. So anyway. Good stuff today, guys. Great conversation as always. Eddie, I always am grateful when you join us, no matter what the conversation is. I am beyond grateful for you being here. To Jesse, you as well. Tomboy, thank you for your input and very helpful. 1-1, you as well. It's been a great conversation, great show. But take into account something that the judge did say right there. Okay? And it completely contradicts the state's case. That could all simply just mean that there was somebody else there with Bryan. They were never willing to admit that until just now. Okay, recently. And again, that completely depletes and in my opinion deletes the state's case, which should be called into question. Just my opinion. So
no, it's not an opinion. That's a fact. There's no way to.
I agree,
there's no reason to softball around that one. or to
Fully.
walk on eggshells around that, that would blow up their entire case, because that's
It
been
would.
their entire case. That's how they
Right.
put forward their case.
And then they would have to somehow present a case with multiple suspects. I
Right.
want to see them. I want to see them do that now.
Right. Just because the work product of the case that they brought forward has failed doesn't mean they get to,
Right.
you
Right.
know, change horses in the middle of the stream and say, well, since that didn't work, then
No,
then we think this other thing.
you don't get to do that.
It doesn't
Right.
work that way.
No, they would have to take this all the way back. And in my opinion, it should have tossed the conviction and everything, but that's just me. I don't know the law completely, but agreed. It should have tossed it. Him saying that alone is something that should have been pulled into conjecture because a judge shouldn't speak. But to make that statement, if I was the one thing I would have blown that up in front of the entire court if I was the defense. Not that it would have mattered, but I would have made a big deal about it. I'll just say that. So
Well,
we'll
more
see what
importantly,
happens.
it shows that they all know.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
They know he's
Everybody,
innocent.
they know, they do, they truly do. They know that they put an innocent man in prison for a crime that other people committed. I fully agree with you, and it's sad. It's very sad, including the judge. I'm sorry, but including the judge. It's a joke.
Not even sorry. Don't even be sorry.
It's
Especially including the judge.
That's the most disgusting part of it to me is the judge himself. It's sickening to me. So
there's no way to get around it. That's just a fact at this point.
It is, and I know there's been no appeal as of yet, but again, guys, we got to remember one major thing. Bryan is the only person that can call that. Bryan is the only one can make the decision to do what he's got to do when and if he chooses to do it. And understand something, a very sad truth to this. He could very possibly never decide to do that. Does it bother me? Of course it does. Does it bother Eddie? I guarantee you. Does it bother you? I know it does. Not our call, folks. And it's going to drive us all insane if it never happens. But for whatever reason, it's the choice he made and the choice that he sticks with if he chooses to do that. At some point, I pray almost truly that he does. Because I want to see this unfold. I want to see this go to trial at the very least, or see him walk out. But one thing I will tell you that I don't ever expect to see is if Bryan were to be exonerated for this and walk free on this, don't ever expect to see anybody else convicted of this ever. Because I don't. And I won't. I don't believe we ever will. They will not spend a dime, not a dime, trying to prosecute anybody else for this ever. It'll just be done. That's the end of it. And that's sad to me. That's very sad. So, that being said, that's going to do it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Eddie. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for pointing me to that video. It's a great one.
Yeah, thank you for having me up as always and allowing me to share.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you soon, I hope, and have a great rest of your night, sir.
You too, Dago. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Great conversation, folks. As I said, thank you to all the moderators that were here. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for, just being here, guys, and for being you. That is going to be, if that happens, when that happens, oh my God, you guys. I don't even know that I want to see the reaction. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. At the very least, it's going to be horrible. But good point, JP. So yes, guys, have a great one. Oh shoot, I was going to show you one of the intros that was put together for my new channel. But it's the end of the show, so I don't think you guys want to see it now. But anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. I will be with Crimes After Dark tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for those of you interested. Come on by and say hey. And again, don't forget, you guys, 1 minute here. One minute, I'm sorry. do not forget to subscribe to the new channel, Cafe Conspiracy. With that channel, guys, we'll be doing everything. What did I do here? We will be doing everything opposite of what we do here. We try to pull as much of nothing but truth here. That channel will be absolute nothing but the opposite. Absolute conspiracies, period. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, what'd you say, Ro? Show us. I could probably do that if you guys have a minute. But yeah, that's the link right there. Make sure you subscribe, please, and thank you. We're getting up there a little bit slowly. Could you show Kaylee's bedroom from the crime scene? You want to go through photos tomorrow? I could probably do that, Michelle. Molly, I have a couple intros that I've been working on to get the channel started. Thank you, Eddie. Molly gave me one last night. Pretty awesome. I could show it to you if you want to see it. And somebody else is working on another pretty awesome one, too, for me. Oh, let me see here. If you guys have a minute, we can close it out that way. One minute here. And that way, there's going to be a couple different versions of this. I'm excited for all of them. And our amazing our new amazing videographer who created the intro for this channel has put together this for the Cafe Conspiracy channel that's coming up. So that way you guys will know what to expect. The link's in the chat for it. Check this out. She does an amazing thing, as always. Always. Molly is amazing. She does amazing things. There you go.
Beneath motel neon glow, ice machine screaming like it's in on the show. Everybody's talking through a dead wire grin, selling little truths with the poison tucked in. Black sedans humming like a lullaby, tinted windows blink but they never cry. Files locked down in the desert heat, strange lights dancing over Groom Lake streets. Crime kites smiling while the footage shakes. One small step for one giant fate. Majestic 12 signing on a classified shelf while Antarctica freezes over secrets in the snow. Room 306 with the curtains sewn. Got 1,000 little secrets dialing my phone. You can call me dangerous, call me out my mind, but why is every leak confession buried out of sight? They're painting over evidence in red, white, and blue. If the shoe don't fit the story, why's it fit in you? Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy, where the laws connect the lines in between. Everybody laughing while the signals decay. Nothing to see here, that's what they say. From Dallas shadows to the neon sky, half the world sleeps while the questions multiply. If you never ask questions, you'll never disobey. Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy. Camera glitches on the penthouse floor, names in a black book nobody mentions anymore. An owl in the redwoods where the kings play God. Illuminati bloodlines giving you the nod. Politicians smiling with the perfect teeth while another headline disappears beneath. Punch-drunk headlines bleeding out fast. Yesterday's scandal already passed. Hard drives wiped with a velvet glove. Kiss the ring and call it tough love. Maybe I'm a problem, maybe that's the point. They'd rather call it madness than let the story split the joints. All the talking heads keep dancing like marionettes on cue. The strings become invisible when they're wrapped around you. Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy, where the truth is stripped of the cheap cliche. Everybody's scrolling while the towers sway. Just coincidence, that's what they say. So swallow every narrative, kneel and obey. If you never ask questions, you'll never break away. Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy. Area 51 been electric storms. MK Ultra in a lab-grown swarm. Nobody remembers where the lie begins. Tinfoil prophets on the late night feed. Maybe the lie isn't what they told you. Maybe the lie is making you
afraid to look. Redacted names in blacked out lines, power dressed in perfect ties, history cut to fit the frame, different decades, same old game. Who's ready oriented? Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy, where we watch the guilty play innocent. There's smoke in the archives from Roswell, dust to the CIA. Truth gets buried while the headlines play. If you never ask questions, you'll fade into the gray. Welcome to Cafe Conspiracy. Pull up a chair and decide what's real. Decide what's real for yourself. History written by faceless men, the files never closed. 3 a.m. and the sign still flickers. Truth tastes sweet, but the lie tastes quicker. Everything's fine until you read between the lines.
There it is, you guys. That is one of the new intros to the Cafe Conspiracy. We'll be starting real soon. I can't wait for it either. I hope that you guys choose to subscribe and follow me over there because it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Plenty to talk about. I have so much stuff stacked right now for us to do over there. When we do start, it's going to be, we're buried. I'll just tell you that much. And it goes all of the stuff that was in there that you can imagine, and then some, and then some, and then some we're going to be talking about. So I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So please, yes, Meanie. It might be more than. I may be doing it a couple, 2-3 times a week. We'll see what happens. It depends on what you guys want. And thank you, Molly. You did such an amazing job as always. God bless. You know I love you. I couldn't do this without you, Molly. I love you to death. And thank you so much for doing everything you do. She did an amazing job as always, guys. She does the intro for the True Crime Cafe as well. The song, the video, all of that stuff she put together. So please make sure you guys, if you can, jump over to her channel, subscribe, show her some love, let her know how much we appreciate her, because we do. You guys have a great rest of your night. If, you know, for those of you I might see over at Crimes After Dark, I'll see you there. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow, guys. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And if you will, again, please hit the like button here. Share this out. Make sure you subscribe here and share, you know, all that fun stuff. Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you subscribe to Cafe Conspiracy, if you will. I love you guys so very much. I appreciate you even more. Guys, don't forget to love yourselves, love each other. Don't change nothing, because I love you the way you are. The beautiful people. See you very soon. Yeah, Molly's link is in here. Hold on. Let me give it back to you again. Right there. Miss Leah put it up. Thank you very much. Again, thank you to the mods that are here. I appreciate you very much for all you do. Have a great night, guys. Love to you all. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
The coffee's cold, the final stain. We laid the map out in the pouring rain. No hidden corners left to creep. The dark truth woke while the city was asleep. The evidence lines up straight and true. A perfect picture of what they chose to do. The quiet street erupts in flashing light. A reckoning delivered in the night. SWAT serves the warrant, loud and clear. cafe's empty, closed for the night. We put the darkness back into the light. We'll wipe the counter, set the empty chair, and wait right here for the next secret laid bare. Until the next one.